Football, the legendary coach who made Ronaldo unstoppable and dominated world football. Please like, share, and subscribe. Episode 101. In the game, for transfer targets that have already started, you can not only look at the data, but also decide on the amount of the transfer. However, Liu Yi did not intend to interfere in this, and when these rights fell into his hands in the future, he would make plans. The 5 people whose loyalty reached full value, in addition to Rowe, Fred, and Verony, there was not surprisingly Lingard, who also had a mood description behind. Feel the warmth of the host like a father. Liu Yi appeared 3 question marks above his head on the spot. What kind of ghost is this? How can I be as warm as my father? What did I do to Lingard? After thinking about it, it is probably that Lingard has not been very smooth in recent years, and I trust him more. This young man is also difficult. When the contract is renewed, it will give your son benefits. Liu Yi wrote down this line of plans in a computer memo so that he would not forget it. Another person who reached the full value was Sang Yang. Liu Yi originally thought it was Rashford, but he did not expect that Rashford was 19, and it was almost enough to be full. However, Sang Yang is also easy to understand. Before under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Sang Yang has been called Water Joe. With a value of 80 million, the salary is not low. Under such a big pressure, the whole person is almost bad. With the continuous goals and assists under Liu Yi, the pressure has been greatly relieved, and the external wind evaluation is getting better and better, and it also makes him more and more confident. Liu Yi's gratitude is overflowing with words, and the system also has his voice. Boss not only saved my career, but also saved my self-confidence and soul. Praise God, all glory belongs to Liu. Another person with high loyalty is Van der Beek. This young man under Liu Yi got a large number of opportunities to play. Loyalty rubbed Jean to 18. Everyone else is growing steadily, with the lower ones remaining Marshall, Dalot, and Bailey, all of whom have reached 13. It seems that he is still very popular, and Liu Yi is satisfied with his recent performance. Open that broker card, choose Dragon Country, the highest level super broker, loyalty never betrayal, code of conduct all for the service of the object of consideration. After filling in these contents, a figure was faintly visible on the screen, which soon disappeared, and a white light flew out of the computer and dissipated in the air, startling Liu Yi. Distant Dragon Country, it is late at night, but the roadside hot pot restaurant, there are still people who do not want to go home. Zhao Lingyue, this year has been in his early 40s, there are old and young, it is the most stressful time in life, but in the morning, he was swept out of the house where he worked. Although he has worked in the firm for more than 10 years and has made great contributions to the development and growth of the firm to this day, this is useless. Because in a recent case, he offended a big man in the legal profession, and the other party released a lot of words to bankrupt his law firm. The fact is also that in recent times, the companies and individuals they have cooperated with have continued to terminate their contracts, which has put a lot of pressure on law firms. In the end, the result was this: he was directly swept out of the door and became an abandoned one. 2 bottles of white wine went down, and the good buddy who sat with him was already too drunk to lie on the table, but he had a sad soberness. The phone rang and I looked at a message from a good buddy from the law firm with only a simple job advertisement. Brother, since the year of changing careers, the heavens and the earth are wide in an instant, and I think this job is very suitable for you. Half convinced to open the recruitment advertisement, the first thing that appeared was Liu Yi's photo. Zhao Lingyue, as a fan, naturally knew the heart of this football legend, and quickly turned down, sure as he thought. The recently acclaimed Manchester United boss needed an agent to take care of his business in the country. The requirement is basically to be familiar with domestic laws, especially in the economic field, and to have a certain understanding of domestic football and world football. This is nothing to say, as a decades-old fan, Zhao Lingyue can fully meet the requirements. It is simply a tailor-made job for himself, because Zhao Lingyue is also a Manchester United fan. One day to serve the Manchester United manager, he will not hesitate to carefully collect the job advertisement. A white light, along the overhead light fell on his body, pouring into his body. Inside Carrington's training base, Liu Yi did not know that the agent he needed had been found. After filling out the agent card, he began to study the next game against his third brother Arsenal, leading the team to play 6 games. Only the one against Manchester City was at home, and the rest was away. This match against Arsenal will begin several consecutive home games. There will be a large number of Manchester United fans, and as a manager, it is naturally incumbent on them to leave with a happy mood. Looking at the recent record, it is very embarrassing. Arsenal, although all kinds of crotch pulling, belong to anyone can lose, but cannot give Manchester United a team. In the last 5 games the two sides have met, Manchester United have lost 3 and drawn 2, 1 win is difficult to find, and what is worse is that only 1 goal has been scored, or in the distant 19.10 month, Arsenal scored 6. If the manager is still Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it will most likely make this embarrassing record further extended. But now that he has changed to himself, he should also let the third brother understand a truth, come out of the mix, always have to pay back, the score taken from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer before, by his own successor, helped to get back the towel. Episode 102. After hiding in the office and simulating the game continuously, Liu Yi's face was livid, and he directly smashed the computer in front of him. Fortunately, the game system was not affected, and still appeared in his hands. 10 consecutive simulations, with an enhanced version of Rowe, Fred, Varane, and the case of Varane, were forced to play 10 draws with Arsenal. Each shot exceeded 20 times, hit the target more than 10, and just couldn't get in. Either the other side's goalkeeper super god, or the other side's defender super god, sacrificing himself to block the eye. In the case of all kinds of data dominance, it is impossible to win. The more you think about it, the more angry you are, and you can break through Arsenal's goal in a few games, and then the players on their side start to send penalties, either in the penalty area or in the penalty area. Including but disdainful, the Swiss in the Wan-Bissaka penalty area, Lindelof handball clearance, Luke Shaw a tackle, put down the opposing 3 and so on. The Arsenal players fell to the ground themselves, and the referee misjudged the penalty. Even more outrageous was the fight between Maguire and Lacazette in the box as they fought for a header. Both were then sent off with red cards and given Arsenal a penalty. An outrageous mistake, as well as the way to send a penalty, made Liu Yi directly have a brain hemorrhage. It must not be just his own depression. Liu Yi decided to let the players bear the burden with him, sort out the emotions and come to the training ground. Half an hour is left before the end of the training, and the players are basically doing restorative training. In fact, it means that they are grinding foreign workers, waiting for the end of training to go home, or looking for a place to be dashing. Cough cough cough. Liu Yi coughed a few times, indicating that he had something to say, and the crowd focused their attention. The next step is to face the challenge of Arsenal, this performance for the fans at home. There is no room for mistakes, so for the next half hour, we practice. As soon as the players listened, they were immediately confused, and they had practiced what they should have practiced. How come anyone has an opinion? Watching the boss's gaze sweep over, everyone expressed their approval. Boss, I think we should also do physical training. Fred took the lead in making his stance clear. Very good, it seems that everyone has no opinion. Then in the remaining half an hour, those who have run 5 kilometers can end the training early. Start now. With Liu Yi's order, the players began to enter the state, and 5 kilometers was not too difficult for them. The only problem is that they are all about to leave work, and now they are about to start to enter the state. Like Marshall, who is not keen on running, naturally has an opinion. The players went to run laps, and Liu Yi looked at Carrick next to him. Carrick felt the manager's gaze, and felt a little strange. What did that mean? Michael, go run, too. As soon as he heard this, Carrick was immediately confused. He was just an assistant coach. What was the use of physical fitness? Is it difficult to make yourself at a critical moment? The assistant coach also needs physical fitness. You train with the players every day. You are also responsible for substituting people when you play. Once the physical fitness is insufficient, how to help me achieve great things? Go quickly. Carrick was about to cry. How much physical strength is needed for this matter? An 80-year-old lady can do it. But in order to keep his job, he did not dare to refuse, and could only change into a smile that was uglier than crying. The coach is right, I will go. Fortunately, Carrick's daily exercise is also a lot. Running 5 kilometers is still no problem. To change to the old Perrin, it is estimated that the direct loss of breath. Sitting on a chair on the training ground, Liu Yi casually opened a bottle of mineral water, watching a group of people running on the field, and the mood was suddenly a lot better. By the way, I took out my phone and looked at the news. Almost all the media is focused on the coverage of the Golden Globes. Tomorrow is the Golden Globes award ceremony, specifically who won the Golden Globes, Messi or Lewandowski. People are still speculating. Unfortunately, Luo has been out early this year. Liu Yi looked at Luo on the run, a man who always fights and never accepts defeat, even if there is no hope, even if he is about to enter the 37-year-old player, even if he does not appear himself, he will fight until the last moment. In Liu Yi's heart, a sentence sounded, I can accept failure, but I must fight to the end. Cristiano's life is a life of constant fighting. It's like running laps now, even if everyone is younger than him, but he is still stubborn to run ahead. Cristiano Ronaldo, your remaining goal, I'll run with you until the day you serve. Liu muttered to himself. This year's Golden Globes ended very early for Cristiano Ronaldo, but it doesn't matter that this is not the last. Running to the upper Luo, running very seriously, his eyes fell on the runway, as if looking at the vague future. Even if the body has aged, the limbs can no longer do as they did when they were young. They can do all kinds of actions at will, but he does not admit defeat. Once he said that he wanted 7 Golden Globes, wanted one more than Messi, and now many people laugh at him with this tide, but the life he has struggled for is not regrettable, just like now, and he keeps running until the day when he can no longer run. Liu Yi threw the mineral water in his hand to the ground, appeared on the track, and ran shoulder to shoulder with Luo, and the players behind him saw that the boss had come up and quickly accelerated their speed. Lao Luo, this year's Golden Globe is over, but the battle continues. Our goal is the next Golden Ball, and the next one, I'll help you. Liu Yi's voice is very high, the other players have heard it very clearly, everyone can feel that Luo is not in high mood in training today, and they all know that it is because of this matter. Cristiano, you are the strongest hero in my heart, I made up my mind at a very young age to play like you and become a hero in the hearts of countless people. Lin Jiada, who was following behind, suddenly sped up and ran to Liu Yi's side, shouting at the front with his throat. I have not seen Ronaldo in Brazil, in my heart you are the only Ronaldo, Ronaldo who once led Manchester United to the top of Europe, you are our pride, and then you will lead us to greater glory and take back all the lost pigs. Rashford shouted after him. At this moment he was not just pulling the master, he also wanted to pull the master brother. Cristiano, you are the hero of our Portuguese, the pride of our country, the spirit and symbol of our country, and we will follow you to the pinnacle of football again. Almost all the Portuguese are C. Ronaldo fans, are C. Ronaldo supporters, and he is naturally no exception. C. Luo ran silently in front, suddenly threw away Liu Yi, running faster and faster. Liu Yi chased a few steps, chose to give up, interjected a few breaths, and the surrounding courtesan Men Xian helped him tightly. Catch up. Run with Lao Luo. Run this last lap. Episode 103. Back at home in the evening, Liu Yi suddenly received a text message from Luo, and the content was also very simple, thank you. Other players also received text messages from Luo, the content was the same, but not a group, even the Mata on the bench they also received. Immediately after on Twitter, I saw Ronaldo's small essay on love. Since returning to Manchester United, C. Ronaldo will publish chicken soup content every day to encourage his teammates. I have the best coaches and teams right now, and together, we will get even bigger honors and get back to the top with the team. Very good. Liu Yi is ready to like, found that he did not register an account, does not have operability. If you don't register one, you will need to interact with the endorsement product in the future. Just do it, it is not a big deal, 3 times 5 first 2 registration, and then hide their own viewing content, after all, lonely night, lonely self, relying on Twitter sister to live If it is discovered by fans, what kind of system, what majesty exists? Serious nature is a must, pass on their own work proof and identity information, quickly pass the certification, and then give C. Ronaldo a thumbs up. There were too many people who liked Luo, and Liu Yi's account was soon drowned in the crowd, like a small wave in the sea, bubbling up and disappearing. Today's Twitter welfare sister is not powerful. Liu Yi looks at the lack of interest. After casually flipping over, turning off Twitter, it is better to continue the game with Arsenal, must win the third brother, his first defeat, how can he appear in this situation? And at home, worthy of the fans who come from afar? Maybe then there will be a mild-mannered man outside the Old Trafford goal, shouting the famous words to reporters. Snema, refund the money. This must not be allowed to happen, we must take the third brother. The 3 brothers have taken away from Manchester United over the years, first get back 3 points of interest. Anyway, there are still 2 or 3 days to go, 1 game does not work, then open another round, open another 10 games, even if you don't sleep for a few days, you have to get it. With a kind of tragic grandeur that the wind is cold and the water is cold, Liu Yi reopens the computer and logs into the game. By the way, what was smashed during the day was the office computer, and the staff had already gone to buy a new one. Unlike during the day, a touch of red appeared on the entire screen, looking like a fanatical and murderous feeling. What's going on here? The game system prompts appear in time, thanks to the host's encouragement and help to Cristiano Ronaldo, the whole team is united, and the whole state of Manchester United is improved, entering the Super Manchester United mode, which lasts for 3 games. Dude, there's also a Super United mode, what a situation. It has completely departed from Liu Yi's understanding of this game, of course, compared to being able to control reality, transform a person out of thin air, or even appear a person, Super Mode is also very normal. So what happened to the Super Mode, the episode? Liu Yi decided to enter the game to experience a handful, carefully lined up the troops, put the players in the most suitable position, and then played the most comfortable football. 10 consecutive draws in the morning, it depends on this Super Mode, whether it can get the system bureau. 1 minute into the game, Luo scored a goal with a long-range shot. However, Liu Yi was not proud of this, and there was a game on the trip, sending Arsenal 5 penalties of super performance. Continue to watch. The more I watched, the more frightened I became. The first 20 minutes were 5 o'clock, and the Arsenal played without any ability to fight back, giving people a feeling of kicking and pretending. The first half of the game ended, the score was 10 o'clock. Seeing this number, Liu Yi was about to cry, too exaggerated. If it weren't for the fact that the middle couldn't quit, Liu Yi would want to reopen the game now, which was also too much, so that the whole team of the three brothers would have to resign en masse. In the second half, the goal went into Liu Yi. C. Ronaldo scored 7 goals alone, Bife and Rashi scored a hat-trick, substitute Greenwood both scored 2 goals, the other Sancho scored 1 goal and 6 assists, Fred scored 1 goal and 3 assists, Jesse Lingard scored 2 goals and 5 assists, and the remaining goal was Varana's header. Anyway, how to kick did not look carefully. Liu Yi quickly clicked on the reading file, reopen a game. He just wants to be a good coach, but he still wants to be a monster. As soon as this score is kicked out, the FBI from the United States can immediately come to the door and talk to himself, and maybe even give himself some pepper water, electric shock stool or something. The goals that were not scored in the morning seemed to be stuck in this game. Then a new set started, the score was slightly better 18-0, C. Luo went in 5 goals, which was Liu Yi replaced him in the second half. Liu Yi who scored goals was numb, is it so difficult not to score? However, in order to make the game look normal, he could not directly line up the troops, and he could not have the operation of C. Luo guarding the goal. A new round of struggle appeared, with the exact opposite ending of the morning. 10 consecutive games down, the least one round scored 10 goals, this is obviously still not okay, how can the third brother play such a heavy hand? In the morning, the backline, which was a variety of fancy points in the game, also became extremely stable, leaving Arsenal's strikers useless again and again. Looking at the time, it was already 0:36 midnight, Liu Yi rubbed his red eyes, God, you are playing with me. No way, still have to continue, the 10 o'clock score has been played out before, but this kind of score, as long as there is one time, if you play it often, it will definitely make people suspect that there is a problem. Even if it is a game with a big score, Liu Yi decided to slowly restrain a little and win the game. Now the Super Manchester United model, at least need to torture themselves for 3 games, Liu Yi's original excitement has become entangled, 2-pip point. It was another sleepless night, until 6 o'clock in the morning, Liu Yi played a satisfactory result, moved to tears to sleep. In the morning, the players who normally came to train suddenly received the news that the head coach was sick and asked for leave, and everyone was free to train. C. Luo came to visit Liu Yi on behalf of everyone, and he also received some fruits in his hand. After all, he had heard that the etiquette of the Longwa people was like this. Seeing Liu Yi's haggard and tired look, Luo was shocked. Liu, although you are still young, you must exercise restraint in terms of men and women, but you can't play bad body. Liu Yi directly put up his middle finger and stroked at C. Luobi, get out. If you hadn't scored 7 or 8 goals in a game, would I have stayed up all night? Closed out of the door, C. Luo showed a smile of understanding on his face. Could it be that he was a little lover of boss, and he was not embarrassed to let himself see? Episode 104. Liu Yi got up from bed in the afternoon and flipped through his phone to see what news was worth paying attention to. It is still the Ballon d'Or that occupies all football-related pages, with 2 people from United reaching the final 30 of the Ballon d'Or awards. Ranked 21st Bife and 6th C. Ronaldo, presumably C. Ronaldo's mood should not be very good. Messi got the 7th golden ball of his life, and the internet is naturally a rainbow fart. Hashtag Messi is the first player who has never been seen before or since hashtag. Hashtag synonymous with football, hashtag. Hashtag God-given football else on earth, hashtag. Some people claim that the Golden Globe Award should be changed to the Messi Award, hashtag. Is really, Liu Yi also admitted this, but he saw more of all kinds of repeated praise, and he also felt a little bored, so be it. In Carrington Training Base, the atmosphere is still very happy, but everyone tacitly does not mention the Golden Globe Award, and someone accidentally said it, and quickly changed the topic. As for the blessing Bife, it is also carried out quietly, so as not to stimulate C. Luo. But Luo himself, who looked light, even took the initiative to speak up several times, but unfortunately no one picked up his words. His previous response to the remarks of the French football editor-in-chief has also caused a lot of controversy, and many people have ignored his rebuttal points and turned to irony and attacks that Luo can't afford to lose. Such an attack, C. Luo is not unexperienced, worse than this, he does not care, but these are used as a driving force for progress. The whole world is congratulating Messi. Other content about football, it seems that the collar does not exist during this time. Manchester United and Luo also lack attention, of course, other teams are no exception to Messi's single brilliance, relying on the glory of 7 Golden Ballon Awards, suppressed the entire football world. Disobedience is not okay, you must admit his honor and status. Everyone was congratulating each other, or congratulating Messi. The loser also expressed his convincibility, admitting that the other party is more qualified to win the Golden Globe Award, and of course, those who won the Golden Globe Award did not hesitate to praise, saying that the person who lost also had a Golden Globe Award. The whole world of football looks like it's always been a matter of contention and strife, except for the forgotten ones. Liu Yi is also one of them, even if he has recently played an unprecedented record. At this time he has to be obscured by Messi's light and temporarily lost his tracks. From this point of view, perhaps sending the third brother a relatively big defeat does not seem to be a bad thing, at least it can focus people's attention on football. The football thing, after all, is still the goal, the assist and the championship decides. I fell this year, and I got up again. When Liu Yi arrived at the training ground, the training was almost over, the players were shocked, and the boss was not going to have another 10 waves of physical training. Fortunately, this time Liu Yi did not come to toss everyone, but only to advise some things. From now until the end of the match against Arsenal, no one is allowed to say anything on social media. We have to put our whole body into the preparation. It's been a shameful record that hasn't beaten Arsenal for several years in a row, and we absolutely can't let that continue. So, if anyone can't control his own hands, or expresses his desires, and wants to pass on some information to the outside world, then he can ask me for a leave of absence and rest for a while. I don't mind. The players nodded their heads in understanding. After all, it was 3 or 2 days, similar close training. Mourinho and other strict management coaches had also been in the past, not bosses against everyone. At the end of the training, Liu Yi drove the Dragon flag H9+, signaling Si Luo to get on his car. Si Luo naturally would not object, he knew that the boss should have something to say to himself. The car drove out of the training base. There were many fans waiting at the door, hoping to get an autograph or a chance to take a group photo. Liu Yi stopped the car and opened the door. A teenage girl, with a little boy of 8 or 9 years old, wore a Manchester United shirt and coat, and a scarf in her hand. "Lou, give my brother an autograph, horse?" "Of course you can." Liu Yi smiled and squinted and agreed, reached over to take a signature pen, and wrote down his name on the little girl's scarf. "Wow, is this the character of the Dragon Kingdom, as if it were a painting?" The little girl looked amazed and admired the signature that Coach Liu had spent 10 yuan on from the internet. Liu Yi signed her brother, by the way, and the little girl suddenly saw the co-pilot Si Luo and exclaimed again. "Cristiano, when my dad watched the Golden Globes live before, he said Cristiano was the best and Messi was the fucking XX. What do you think?" Liu Yi asked in passing. "Who is Messi?" The little girl blinked, replied bluntly, and the people around her who were suddenly trembling laughed, and Liu Yi reached out and touched the little girl's blonde hair. "Go back and tell your father that it's not right to talk dirty in front of a child, and you can't do it in the future. My mom is swearing too." The 7 or 8-year-old boy, with 2 hands holding Liu Yi's car window, stared at his eyes and said seriously. "Yes, but mom won't let us say it." The little girl also expressed support for her brother. "What did your mother say?" Liu Yi was really curious whether the couple had quarreled over Messi and Luo. The little girl's eyes narrowed, her hands were put around her waist, and she puffed up her cheeks, probably learning from her mother. "Fuck Golden Globe Award, the old lady supports Cristiano." The crowd laughed again with good intentions, but this is also the voice of some Manchester United fans and Luo fans, and perhaps many people have exploded into foul language. Even Luo laughed out loud. He has always been very gentle when facing the fans. Perhaps seeing that Liu Yi was kinder and very good at talking, the little girl asked again, "Liu, can I take a picture of a horse?" Liu Yi looked at the nearby fans, about 30 or 50 people, and nodded his head in agreement. A couple in their 30s, with a look of embarrassment, ran over, obviously the voice of their children just now, and they heard it. "Liu, very hugging, you're in trouble." "Where, a very cute pair of children, do you want to take a picture together?" Liu Yi rubbed the hair of the 2 children, smiled and proposed to the 2 that they were Manchester United fans and naturally wanted to be nice to them. Si Luo also came down from the other side, and the 2 began to take photos of the fans, signing a name by the way. It lasted for 10 minutes, and the 2 of them got into the car and left the training base under the reluctant eyes of everyone. There were still people waving Manchester United scarves behind him, and some people holding up Luo's shirt to evacuate Liu Yi without saying any comforting words, just talking about their boring life in Manchester. "There's a live show on Manchester United TV tomorrow, so come with me." After arriving at his home, Liu Yi stuffed the car keys into Luo's hand and said a word by the way. "Okay, bar." Episode 105. The next morning, Liu Yi and Luo participated in an interview with Manchester United Television, that is, MUT. The beautiful hostess, Kirsty Shirts, interviewed the 2 and collected some questions from netizens, most of whom were Manchester United fans, and of course not. Shirts saw the Manchester United manager and the superstar, and his eyes were full of stars. "Hey, Liu, Cristiano, sign me first," he said and took out a jersey that had been prepared in advance and placed it in front of the two of them. "Costi, you're working hours and doing your own personal business, and I'll suggest that would withhold your week's salary." Louis made a joke while writing his name on his jersey. Kirsty is also unambiguous. Once as a model, she is more than slippery for this kind of little joke. "Lou, I'm not as rich as you. Once you are deducted from your wages, you can only go to your house to eat and rub. I guess you won't mind." Louis was stunned, and then made everyone laugh, and the atmosphere became relaxed. After each of them drank a sip of water, they officially entered the working state. Of course, the just now is also recording, and now it is recording and live broadcasting. Specific problems, on the way to Liu Yi and C. Luo, have reviewed it once and determined okay. Let's start with our boss. K. Liu Yi made a gesture. "Are you still single? We female fans of Manchester United are very concerned about this issue," Shirt said, and also winked at Liu Yi. This question seems to be nothing, but now to go live to go out, it is a little embarrassing. Still, he nodded and replied in the affirmative. "Wow, it seems that our Demon King's Majesty doesn't have his queen yet." The next few questions are some of the more personal and innocuous questions. There is no difficulty, and the effect of enlivening the atmosphere. "Messi won his 7th Ballon d'Or, why didn't you congratulate him publicly?" This question is clearly ill-intentioned. Louis thought about it for a moment before he answered. "I've been working hard, focusing all my attention on Manchester United and my players. We're seriously preparing for the next game, not to mention I don't have a chance to know Messi, I don't have a chance to congratulate him. Everyone knows I'm not a social media fanatic. But since it comes down to that, I'm here to congratulate him for his remarkable achievements." Shirts took the opportunity to ask the question to Luo again. "Cristiano, what about you?" "Congratulations to Messi. I'm just going to be fully prepared for Arsenal these days. The boss forbids any of us to speak on social media, otherwise it will put me on the bench." C. Luo reached out and shrugged his shoulders and made a helpless posture. Seeing that Schultz's eyes looked over, Louis nodded and admitted that this was his request. "It is, after all, we haven't beaten Arsenal in years. I don't plan to let this record continue. Whoever drops the chain for me, I will let him on the bench and calm down for an inch." The fans' questions were put aside for the time being, and Shirts thought of another question. "Cristiano, will Lou's strict management make you feel dissatisfied?" C. Luo smiled. Although this kind of question is temporarily added, it is not malicious. On the contrary, it is giving him the opportunity to play. "Of course not. We are a united whole. Lou led us to victory after victory. We all support him and are willing to do anything for him." Such an answer, of course, will make the United fans have two minds. "Cristiano, you've responded to French football before. Can you tell us more about your goals?" "Of course, in interviews, I once said that I wanted to take 7 Ballon d'Or, one more than Messi, but this is just one of my many goals. If I want to choose a single goal, then I hope to win a World Cup before retiring." C. Luo said very frankly, did not hide, naturally let people feel good. He does not take Messi as his only goal, he is just competitive. "Now it seems that Messi has thrown off your 2 golden balls. Are you still going to continue to compete?" "Of course, I haven't retired yet. I think I still have the strength to continue to lead the team to get greater honors, more championship trophies, and the king said that the Golden Globes have a good chance." Schultz's eyes fell on Louis, and it seemed that it was his problem again. "Lou, here is a question for you. Do you admit that Messi is the best player in the world?" Louis immediately smiled. This is really not hiding it. Of course, he will not care. "Messi is a genius, a fantastic player, but the best in the world is sitting next to me. Look at his recent goals and assists. It's hard to imagine that humans have such a strong player, and he's over 36 years old and looks far stronger than he was when he was younger." One last question, and one that all United fans are concerned about. What are our goals for this season? Louis replied directly, "I have said many times that all the champions, as long as we are still in the participating teams, we will move forward towards the champions and give everything we have." Shirts looked at Ronald. "Cristiano, what do you think?" "Of course, what Lou said is what we are going to do. He asked us to win the championship, then we will go and win the championship for him. This is the consensus of everyone." The interview ends here. After the live broadcast, the video will also be retained, put on Manchester United's official account, the official website, so that fans who have not watched the live broadcast can watch it. It is conceivable that after the interview is broadcast, it will certainly cause countless debates. Whether it is about Messi or about the championship, it will certainly make fans of other teams unhappy. In fact, other fans also watched the live broadcast a lot, want to know how Louis evaluated Messi, but also want to get affirmation of Messi from his mouth, and then when they touted, there was more evidence. Unfortunately, Louis did not do as they wished. A Messi fan named Su Xian in Longwa is still a third-line star, and he directly came out to refute Yi. I see Liu Yi like that, a person who doesn't understand football and only understands the relationship with Lola. Messi just won 7 gold balls. If it is not the best in the world, what can he count as the one who has not been able to get the gold ball for several consecutive years? Liverpool supergiant Van said in an interview, the competition between Messi and Ronaldo has ended. Messi has won a comprehensive victory, and Ronaldo is the loser. Unfortunately, his interview was seen by Liu Yi, and he remembered it in his heart, waiting for the next meeting to surprise Van. Episode 106. In response to this interview with Mutt, Liu Yi and Luo's remarks broke out into a large number of arguments, and even Longwa had many fans of Messi, criticizing Liu Yi for not respecting Messi. A rookie coach who only led the team to play a few games and didn't know the sky was high, did he understand football? He doesn't understand. The things that the media and football people all over the world recognize, as far as Liu Yi and Luo don't approve, are either dead ducks with hard mouths or really not enough level. Similar remarks abounded, and for a time it made people feel that Liu Yi seemed to be in the midst of wind and rain, and what he experienced in front of him was continuous defeat, not a big victory. As Liu Yi's home base camp in China, the majority of fans on his side are still on his side, even if they will not agree with his views, but most people will not scold him or criticize him. It is not the same abroad. If it were not for Liu Yi's account not being discovered, it is estimated that he would have been driven miserably. Even so, it has ushered in a large number of celebrities who have publicly criticized. Liverpool Echo, Liu Yi and Luo do not respect the players who have won the Golden Globe and voted on. Sky Sports, the losers' complaints? Team News, I hope Liu Yi and Luo can speak with champions instead of mouths. Large and small media, naturally to rub this heat, lashed out at Liu Yi and Ronaldo, and even Manchester United club. Unfortunately, Liu Yi would never care. Luo was even more commonplace, and being attacked was not once or twice. The whole team is seriously preparing for Arsenal. Don't you speak with results, then start with Arsenal. Let these people see and understand indestructible attacks and iron walls of defense. The time soon entered the match day, and the major fan groups of Manchester United have made private contacts, and the surprises they have carefully prepared for Liu Yi have been for some time. Now it's finally time for a home stadium where Ball Rice Gate can perform their best tricks. At the first home game, everyone was not very optimistic about Liu Yi, but this time it was different. Liu Yi used one big win after another to consolidate his position in the hearts of the club and the fans. Before the start of the game, 3 or 4 hours, there were already a large number of fans gathered near Old Trafford, waving various flags, singing team songs loudly, and tourists from all over the world, taking advantage of this opportunity to take photos. From time to time, you can see celebrities. The number of Manchester United fans is very large, and celebrities are naturally very large. There are even many people who fly from other countries and from other continents to watch the game, to express their support for the main scarf at such a critical time. Kevin wears a jacket with a Manchester United shirt inside, and as a journalist, he is not hostile in case he interviews Arsenal fans. Hey, let's talk about today's game. Kevin gave an invitation to the Manchester United fans passing by, and the fans, who were not ready to stop, saw his face look up and down. Dragon people. Yes, this is the video to be sent to the Dragon Kingdom. Kevin pointed to the camera guy who was following him. Manchester United fans, who originally had no spirit, immediately looked happy and waved hello to the screen. Praise Longwa, Liu is the best manager, we all love him. Do you think we'll win tonight's game? Of course, Liu has never lost a game, and I think at least 5 goals to win Arsenal. The fan took it for granted. Will the recent fishing boat storm have an impact on the Mouth members' doors? Oh, man, no kidding. Liu and Ronaldo, they're real warriors and never care about those drools. During the interview, there were also Manchester United fans passing by, holding high the Manchester United flag and singing Manchester United songs around Kevin, which made Kevin feel very good. He often interviews fans of other teams and is often asked who he supports, each time being neutral. More than once it has been pointed out that the fans are not neutral. After several consecutive interviews with Manchester United fans, everyone felt very confident that there would be a big win tonight, and finally met a few Aposton kind of fans. Hey, man, United haven't beaten us in years. They've beaten Chelsea before, Liverpool and Manchester City. They just can't win us, so I'm optimistic that tonight will at least remain unbeaten. I have to say that Arsenal fans are also very confident. It's Liu coaching now, not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It doesn't matter who is in charge, maybe that's the will of heaven. Arsenal are destined to win Manchester United. Of course, when the Arsenal fan replied, his companions could not help but add, fuck, Klopp and Liverpool. Hearing these words, everyone smiled heartily. If you ask the teams that the Premier League and Manchester United in continental Europe may encounter since Liu Yi took office, that family will not scold this sentence. Even Liverpool's own fans sometimes can't help it. You said that a good Sashwai you don't protect, the hand is so heavy, the result is now replaced by such a demon king, you are particularly cool, do not let others be better than Kevin also saw a lot of fans from the Dragon country, do not know whether it is an international student, or specially from the country. There are also some of his fans, who take the initiative to come up to greet him, take a group photo by the way, chat about the game, and add some shooting materials to Kevin. I just saw Lu Han and Guan Xiaotong, followed by a few stars, presumably all for Lu guidance. Kevin listened, but unfortunately he did not have the opportunity to interview Lu Han, otherwise it would be of great benefit to the growth of the channel's fans. An hour before the game, Kevin also entered the stadium with a huge flow of people. The pre-match press conference is being held, Liu Yi is attending with Ronaldo, and Arsenal is convenient for Altida and Lacazette. Unlike before, Liu Yi often announced the first release at the end, this time it was directly announced. Media interviews are basically clichés, and everything is on the field anyway. We are the home game, there are 70,000 fans coming to see us, we have a responsibility to bring them happiness and hope that they will go home happily after the game, and have a happy weekend by the way. The fishing wheels don't affect us, our players are professional players with good qualities, they know what they want. After the simple interview, Luo also said a few words, and the two left together. Both Arteta and Aubameyang had one expression, sitting lightly but confidently in their chairs, waiting for reporters to ask questions. Do you have confidence in today's game? Manchester United haven't beaten us in a long time and we want to keep this record small. Episode 107. Inside the stadium, live footage swept through the crowd of fans, and each stand was full, without even a single extra seat. Arsenal fans, with only the early 2000 away fans, look nothing but worth mentioning in United's 70,000 plus fan base. One celebrity after another was also found in the audience. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean Jun and Jean Coach not only know the players very well, but also are very familiar with these big fans of Manchester United. Wow, Megan Fox, this is a real Hollywood goddess. Megan Fox in the camera, wearing a Manchester United shirt, waved generously to the camera, and she was not 100 years old for the camera. Needless to say, almost every Manchester United home game, he will come to watch it live. Sir Charlton, when Liu Yi signed the contract before, he also lost his temper, and now he seems to be in a much better mood. I don't know if I will apologize to Liu Yi. There are a lot of Manchester United celebrities too, Giggs, Beckham, Fletcher, Bart are all sitting in the stands, ready to enjoy this game. Manchester United's club executives, the Glazer family and Santacuco, as well as Arnold, who may become Santacuco's successor, also sat in the stands together. Manchester United's fan lineup is really luxurious. Look at the two boxing champions, Messaway and Pacquiao also came to the scene and supported Liu Yi with practical actions. The world's flyer, Bolt, the avid Manchester United fan, is surprised not to show up, and this strong dialogue can certainly see him. Finally saw our domestic fans, Lu Han and his girlfriend Guan Xiaotong just went there last time, and now they are in the stands again, and they are still surrounded by Yang Tianbao. Not far from them, there are Li Keqiang and Tan Yonglin from Xinjiang, and Yisun Chan, who seems to have come to the football world to watch the game. The players warmed up on the pitch, the fans sang Manchester United songs in the stands, and also sang songs to the players, and the atmosphere was very warm. The United flags are waved like raging waves, which are shocking. 10 minutes before the start of the match, players from both sides returned to the dressing room. Liu Yi has no unnecessary nonsense, his eyes sweep over all the players, the starting start has long been arranged, naturally needless to say. It's time to say that the tactics are all said and today our only task is to leave a win at Old Trafford and get the fans to leave with a quick mood, understand? Understood. Let's shout out our slogan. Attack harder, advance more cool. The players stood up in unison and yelled 3 times with Liu Yi, which looked like some middle too, but in fact, it was of great benefit to improving morale. Very good, let's play. Liu Yi finished speaking, took the lead in leaving the locker room, and appeared in the stadium through the players' passage. His figure appears in the camera, and the fans at the scene have stood up from their seats, at first part of the organized fan organization, and then completely driven. The scene D shouted loudly, now it is our head coach, Liu Yi. Tens of thousands of people in the audience shouted Liu Yi's name, and the mountains called out to the tsunami, just like the fierce wind sweeping through the forest, and the sound of Lin Tao made people feel shocked and excited. Liu Yi clapped his hands around and then spun around. In the stands of Manchester United's craziest die-hard fans, Stretford stand, suddenly a huge portrait of Liu Yi appeared above the fans' heads, and it was a huge typho. The portrait began to pass through the fans, from every Manchester United fan in the West Stand, and to the other stands, like a huge boat walking on the rough sea. The portrait was a ship, and the hands of the fans were the waves that held him up. In the live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ziqi's feelings were both loud. Liu Yi won the hearts of Manchester United fans in a short period of time, and these picky guys are not easy to satisfy. In the process of passing the portrait, a song belonging to Liu Yi began to ring in the field. Liu Yi, Liu Yi, Liu Yi. You are the demon king of the Red Devils. Liu Yi, Liu Yi, Liu Yi. You're driving all the Reds crazy. Liu Yi, Liu Yi, Liu Yi. You are guiding Manchester United in the way forward. You're from the Far East, you have red blood. You have the magic of Manchester United to make United's DNA shine again. The melody is simple, the lyrics are easy to remember, there are only a few hundred people who just started singing, and soon expanded to thousands of people, tens of thousands of people singing Liu Yi together. In the end, the fans in the audience began to sing a chorus, which is the support and surprise that everyone has been preparing for a long time on Liu Yi's second game day. Even Liu Yi himself couldn't help but blush a little, thinking of the overwhelming doubts and insults when he had just arrived, and even some people issued death threats. To this day, the audience holds up a large portrait of themselves, singing their own songs, and want to pay their respects. You only need to wave your own hand, you can trigger tens of thousands of cheers. The road is not long, but the torment is half a lot. Liu Yi is in distant Manchester, and there are no friends to talk to, and there is no target to complain about. He is also a tough man, even if he has grievances, he is not willing to let his family know, such as Dababy, let alone the target of complaints. Now that everything was bitter, I finally couldn't help but have some red eyes, but there was a smile on my face. It's not enough, he also has to give the United fans more glory and champions, to be the god in their hearts and to finally stand at the door of Old Trafford, preferably alongside Sir Yi. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji, as well as all the fans, watched Liu Yi's head being enlarged, saw his reddened eyes, and thought of the storm and fishing crisis that broke out in such a short period of time. This song is a song written to Liu Yi by local fans of Manchester United, which probably means that Liu Yi is the Devil King, and they recognize it. After listening to Zhang Jun's introduction to the song, Zhang Ji suddenly let out a long breath, and his expression was slightly serious. Liu Yi is a real man, that is, he has suffered so many grievances, has not complained about being wronged and attacked by others, or said anything pretentious. Just this point is much stronger than some people in China. Of course, everyone knows who he is talking about, what kind of children who have left home, what kind of wandering outside, etc., all come from the mouth of a certain coach of the Dragon Country national team. In Old Trafford, after the huge portrait is transmitted, it is spread down the stand to prevent blocking everyone's view of the ball. Members of the refereeing team appeared on the pitch, and the starters in the players' tunnel were full of energy and excitement. Manchester United's home game against Arsenal is a corner of the eye. Episode 108. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Guidance began to work, and the game was about to start, first introducing the starting lineups of both sides. Zhang Jun, Arsenal side, it looks like a 44-11 or a 451 formation. Goalkeeper, Ramsdale. The back line from left to right, followed by Nuno Tavares, Gabriel, Ben White, Fuan Jianyang. Midfield quartet, from left to right, Smith-Rowe, Lokonga, Thomas Partey, Saka. The duo in front of him are striker Lacazette and Erdogan hiding behind him. Arsenal have not lost in 3 years against Manchester United, and there should be some psychological advantages. Zhang directed, next introduce Manchester United's starting lineup. The goalkeeper has nothing to say, David De Gea, who has been in a state of intimidation lately. Defensively, Luke Shaw is a little unwell, and in his place is Theses, in the middle is Varane and Lindelof, and on the right is still Wan-Bissaka, and recently Wan-Bissaka has made a significant improvement before. The midfielder is diamond-shaped at the back of Fred, who is already a solid United starter, with Jesse Lingard on the left and Sancho on the right, Van der Beek in front, and the injury of Buffet gave him a chance. The front line is a combination of Marcus Rashford and Lowe, presumably after the last game with Chelsea. No one dares to underestimate Rashford's speed and breakthrough. Can the Arsenal side stand up to their own tests? Zhang Jun also continued, this is a difficult problem for the whole Premier League, and even for the whole of Europe, that is, who will stop Liu Yi and his Manchester United. Now it depends on Arsenal can take on the heavy responsibility. In the middle of the conversation, in the stadium of Old Trafford, the referee blew the whistle of the start of the game, and the fans cheered and began to enter the spectator state. Welcome to the Dragon Football Live Room, now live on the 21-22 season, the 14th round of the Premier League, Manchester United at home against Arsenal, Manchester United wearing a red home shirt, attacking from the left side of the screen to the right, Arsenal opposite. This game is guided by Jean Jun and Zhang to explain to you. At the scene of the game, Liu Yi has been standing on the sidelines. From the time he entered the market to the present, he has not sat down. It seems that Yiping is not sitting down. Manchester United, who took the lead in attacking, did not put in the attack at the first time, and the football was passed all the way back to Varane, signaling everyone to press up. Manchester United's formation began to press through the half, and even De Gea, who has always liked to squat on the goal line to save, came out a little bit. The ball shifted from the left, with Terrace passing directly to Fred, who was now not afraid of confrontation and carried Erdgold's physical pressure firmly to pass the ball to Van der Beek. Van der Beek turned the ball to Sancho, who brought the ball forward and, facing Smith's defense, directly opted for a lateral breakout. Marcus Rashford had already started to push forward at high speed to press Arsenal's defense to recover, but Sancho passed the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo, who did not turn directly to attack, but passed the ball to Jesse Lingard on the right. Lingard and Van der Beek, who came to meet him, a simple 2-by-1, football back at the feet of Lingard, has killed the Arsenal 30-meter danger zone. This series of silky passes coordination, but also let the fans exhale. Compared with the Solskjaer era, it is completely two teams. However, Manchester United are not in a hurry, still around the perimeter of Arsenal's penalty area, turning the ball back and forth, mobilizing Arsenal's defense. Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford are in place in the penalty area. Van der Beek is at the top of the arc, Fred is some behind him, Sancho and Lingard are on the left and right, respectively. Even fullbacks Trace and Wan-Bissaka have already hit the jackpot. Liu Yi suddenly made a gesture on the sidelines, a powerful hand knife-cutting action, and shouted Varane by the way. Varane immediately threw himself into attack, lifting his position up to the opposing half, which was also a message to other players. Jesse Lingard, on the left, seemed unable to break through the defense of Ken Fuan and suddenly passed the ball back to Theses, who in turn passed directly back to Varane. Arsenal's defensive formation changed at this moment, with Varane passing directly to the right. After Sancho got the ball, he passed in as soon as he got into it, and Luo grabbed the first point steadily, and the header rubbed the ball to Rashford, who followed up. Before Rashford could react, he felt the ball hit his forehead and fly into the net. It was as if I had scored a goal. After a few seconds of stunned, Rashford reacted, rushed to the side of the court, learned Ronaldo's way of celebrating, and came to an imperfect suiyith. The players rushed up to celebrate together, and Liu Yi also waved his fist on the sidelines to celebrate the goal with the players on the bench. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jean Jun began to analyze everyone. What is the feeding cake? Look at Luo's feeding cake. Rashford is not ready to eat it, just let him eat it. Hey. After the ball was in, Rashford did not react, stunned for a few seconds before he thought, it is his own goal. It can be seen that Luo fed the cake well. The game started for a full 7 minutes, the ball was completely at the feet of Manchester United, Arsenal did not even have the opportunity to touch the ball, the possession rate of both sides was 100:0. I don't know if Wenger watched the game, I am afraid I will be angry. Steady as Tarzan, moving like thunder, talking about Manchester United's attack, before everyone thought he was slow and leisurely backwards, back and forth to wear down your patience, but it was in an instant, immediately everyone was fast, so that you didn't even do a good job of defensively, and the result was a goal. I have to say that this Manchester United team is much more terrible than the cosmic team Barca of Habib Messi in that year. Before the start of the game, no one expected that Arsenal's first corner touch of the whole game was actually the kickoff after losing the ball, and the Manchester United fans at Old Trafford cheered and applauded continuously. The on-site narrator once again broadcast the score. In the 5,137th minute and 23rd seconds of the game, Manchester United 1-0 Arsenal. The goal was scored by Marcus Rashford and the assist was scored by Cristiano Ronaldo. As Taylor, who has worked at Manchester United for many years, he has further begun to stir up the excitement of the fans. Who are we? Manchester United. The fans began to shout in unison, and 2,000 Arsenal fans sat quietly on the pitch, completely overwhelmed. Who is the best coach? Demon King Liu Yi. Another unanimous cheer. Who's the best player? The fans raised their hands high and shouted out Ronaldo's name in unison, Cristiano Ronaldo. After the interaction, everyone began to applaud in unison, even Liu Yi was no exception, and shouted a few voices with everyone. Not far away, Arteta looked at Liu Yi, who was jumping, and was interacting with the fans, constantly frowning. The Arsenal players who are attacking on the field are also full of confidence, and there is really nothing to fear in the face of Manchester United, and after Erdgold got the ball, under the confrontation of Fred, he staggered and barely passed the ball. Lokona, who was about to receive the ball, slowed down a little, and a leg stretched out from behind him, and it was Luo who ran back from the front court and snatched the 10 passes. Then a beautiful pull turned around, past the counter-snatched Lokona, and strode the ball into Arsenal's half. Episode 109. Manchester United fans who watched the last game began to cheer. They want to see Rowe come out with a good performance, to the rest of the world, to prove what is the best player. Liu Yi also shouted from the sidelines, "Rush, Cristiano." Arsenal fans and players feel an unparalleled sense of oppression, and now this Luo and the one they know, seem to have been greatly improved, returning to his youth in a short period of time. I went up. Thomas looked at Lokonga and took the lead in pushing up to Roth. Ronaldo looked at him, and after a simple shake, the ball passed between Thomas's legs while his body ran fast from the other side. The effect of speed and explosive power double 17 is displayed to the fullest. Thomas only had time to reach out and pull it, but he was thrown away by C. Luo's raised hand and could not hold it. Jesse Lingard, who received the ball on the other side, has knocked the ball back to the feet of Lowe, and United's attacking players in the front, Marcus Rashford, Lingard, and Sancho, are pushing forward at a rapid pace. Not far from C. Ronaldo, there is also Van der Beek ready to pick up and provide C. Ronaldo with a ballpoint. The gap between speed and explosive power will cause the distance between the two sides to open wider and wider, and it is absolutely impossible to let C. Luo break through so easily. Lokan and Xiao Jun C. Luo's legs, directly a slippery shovel to break the ball. Unfortunately, when his legs arrived, Luo directly took the ball out a step, jumped up easily to avoid the tackle, and continued to control the demand. The defenders have fully fallen, the players in the midfield are desperately defending back, and now the situation in the front of Manchester United is 4-4, Arsenal can only separate a defender to stare at Ronaldo. What's the use? C. Luo looked at the position of the goalkeeper, directly in the front of the penalty area. Heel bumped the ball away from the position, a kick straight to the dead corner. Goalkeeper Ramsdale, stretching as far as he could, allowed his defensive area to expand, and he even felt the tip of his finger and the corner touching the football. I was overjoyed, and then I heard the cheers of the Manchester United fans behind me, and there was no way to save. After the football was touched by the Ramsdale hornworm, there was a slight change of direction, but it was useless, and the football still entered the goal steadily, without giving the Arsenal any chance. Ramsdale hammered the ground, lifted the ball out of the net, kicked it out hard, and vented his depression. Just as long as he moves one more second in advance, or adds another centimeter to his arm, then it is a completely different result. Unfortunately, there is no if, and time cannot be turned back. The celebration of the Manchester United players lasted for more than 2 minutes, before it was stopped by the interference of the referee to allow the game to continue. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean Guidon smiled and analyzed, Hey, it seems that the recent media fishing wheel, and Messi got the 7th golden ball, so that Luo is under a lot of pressure. Jean Jun shook his head. I don't think so. Since Liu Yi took office, he has completely activated Manchester United. C. Luo often scored a hat-trick in the first half, and even a wonderful performance of 3 goals and 1 assist. From this point of view, he is the strongest player now. It can be said that in the past. Many people expect Arsenal to rely on metaphysics, resist Manchester United's continued progress. Unfortunately, just 15 minutes have passed, and everyone has understood a truth. I am afraid that it is really impossible to stop this game Arsenal is facing, perhaps another massacre. Arteta tried to direct the team and shouted at the players, but it didn't seem to work too well. The game went on and Arsenal finally organized a decent attack, with Lacazette finding a foothold in the box and hitting Varane directly on the shoulder. Penalty. Arteta kept pressuring the referee and the 4th official, but after the video was played back, it was clear that Varane's arms were only close to the body, and the football did not even hit the arm, but on the shoulder. The referee motioned for United to send a free kick at the back and the game went on. An angry Arteta turned his head and angrily exclaimed, Liu Yi, little rookie from the Dragon Kingdom, your doorman stole my penalty. What? Liu Yi is not happy to hear it. What is called, we stole your penalty, we must have a good theory. Immediately rolled up his sleeves and rushed over, startling Carrick behind him. Is the coach going to fight with people? This is not good. People without conscience dare to say that it was a penalty. Are you blind and unable to see the replay on the big screen? Fortunately, Liu Yi is not the kind of impulsive person who chose to fight against the Altatmouth cannon, so as not to show a red card to eat my fat fear. That's a penalty. That's not a penalty. You are thieves, fans, faceless bribe givers. The more Arteta spoke, the more excited he became, while pulling Liu Yi with his hands. The 4th official quickly separated the two, and as a result, he was sprayed with a face of saliva, depressed to death. You can't afford to lose, you don't have the ability to bear this. What else do you do as a head coach? Go back and hold your mother-in-law and give birth to a baby. To discuss the foundation of mouth cannon skills, Lukaku will not lose to his opponent at all. The referee on the court suspended the game and came to the sidelines, giving a stern warning to the two. Liu Yi felt a little depressed, obviously the first to pry the "how to warn me" under the irritation of Arteta to the referee to make a counting action. The referee himself is angry in his heart. "You mother cannot stop point." He showed a yellow card and pointed in the direction of the stands. "If you dare to speak out again, you will use Ritter." Receiving a Yellowstone card, Arteta suddenly calmed down, shocked by his actions in a cold sweat. If he was banned and caused Arsenal's record to decline, it would be too wrong. Liu Yi returned to his coach's seat, sat down and took a sip of water, and continued to stand on the sidelines, watching the game. Arsenal's players, once again a big foot to drive the ball to the front. Lacazette faced Varane, there was no chance, could not get the ball. "I was a little depressed in my heart, and I kept signaling to the backfield, 'Don't move my big feet and walk me to the ground.'" The defensive players in the back court are also very aggrieved. "You don't want to this is not the ground, cannot pass, only to open the big foot." The ball passed to Rashford's feet, facing Fuan Jianyang's defense, a fancy burst of bicycles, and then one by one with Jesse lingered, leaving the opponent behind. Fuan Jianyang reached out and dragged Rashford's jersey, but unfortunately Rashford's speed was too fast, and instead of pulling it, he was carried by Rashford with a toe and almost fell to the ground. Back to the defense of Saka, timely make-up, blocked Rashford's shooting opportunity. Rashford, a handsome bull's tail, directly flicked away from Saka's bottom, tipped till the ball jumped to the middle of the road. Arsenal central defender Gabriel grabbed the first point, in time to release the ball out. Van der Beek did not wait for the ball to fall, and volleyed directly into the air, which was once again blocked by Gabriel with his body, this time falling at Sancho's feet. Facing the pounced Smith Rowe, Sancho simply took a disguised please, ran out with the ball for a few meters, changed to his comfortable right foot, and then started to cross. This time, Luo outside the penalty area directly rushed into the penalty area, jumped up high with the help of momentum, and directly smashed the football that was still at a high point. The ball broke through Ramsdale's raised hands, and the net behind him swung a wave again. The on-site narrator's frantic roar rang out. Sancho passed the ball and Cristiano rushed in from outside. He flew up high, before the ball fell, smashed the ball into the goal. The ball went in. Who scored? Cristiano Ronaldo. The applause and cheers of the whole audience, see Luo directly a kneeling slide, appeared near the corner flag. Liu Yi with the substitutes rushed to G. Episode 110. Just 25 minutes after the first half, United were already 3-0 Arsenal. The possibility of counting on Arsenal to rely on metaphysics to stop Manchester United is already close to zero. There are many rollovers 3 goals behind, but from the spirit of the Arsenal players and Manchester United players, it can be felt that the two sides are not a high-grade team. Looking at the crazy celebration of Ronaldo and Manchester United fans, looking at the manager who is surrounded by people, Arsenal players can't help but think that if their head coach is this guy, then it will be Arsenal who destroys the enemy? Everyone hates Liu Yi, and everyone hates that Liu Yi is not his own. The game was not over. Liu Yi squeezed Luo's face with both hands, and shouted loudly in the crowd, "Go, tell everyone, what is the best player's performance?" "I will." See Luo roared, stood up from the ground, waved his arm vigorously, and slapped the brothers on the left and right. "Keep attacking." Arsenal is also unlucky. Originally Liu Yi was ready to give the third brother a relatively decent end, did not expect to encounter this file broken, can only be aggrieved first. The referee had to urge the United players to return to their positions once again and not to continue the game. The football returned to the center circle, and after the Arsenal players kicked off, the football was passed to the back court for the first time, and the Manchester United players rushed towards Arsenal's front court like a tide. These people are more capable of running than the other. Lingard and Van der Beek, needless to say, famous for relying on diligent running and oppression. After Rashford's attitude was correct, the sprint pressure again and again made Arsenal's players very worried that they would not be careful, the ball would be broken, too fast. Passing around, always unable to find a suitable passing point, it seems that all the passing routes have been blocked by Manchester United players. Fuan Jianyang with the ball had to choose to return the pass. Rashford has followed the route of his pass. A gust of wind chased up goalkeeper Ramsdale, did not dare to be sloppy. Hurried a big foot to drive the ball to the front. Lacazette under Lindelof's entanglement, barely used his head to pass the football to the midfielder Lokonga. A short black man appeared just in time and poked the ball out of Lokonga's foot, not Frary or anyone else. Van der Beek and Erdegaard faced this 5.5 ball, and chose to rush up together. Their ankles collided together, and the football was kicked out by Van der Beek and landed at Lingard's feet. A new round of Manchester United's attack began, and Van der Beek had already endured the pain, got up from the ground and ran towards the front. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean-June couldn't help but feel up, looking at the waves, wave after wave of attack, breathtaking beauty. Who could have imagined that Manchester United's control of football could reach such a point, and Liu Yi took over the team for more than a month, which shows how high his water level is. Zhang Ji smiled. Hey, Liu Yi's level is high. Needless to say, the previous manager's poor level is also true. Such a group of good players, even a tactical routine cannot play a tactical routine. People are more popular than dead people. The most important thing is that in the past, Manchester United players always couldn't find the ball point, and now a person takes the ball. There are ball points everywhere, and each point of the ball is different, which means that the next defensive routine is also different, making people invincible. The feeling for the word invincible is very strong for the Arsenal players on the pitch and for all the teams that have played against Manchester United. Coupled with the absolute strength of Manchester United and Luo, it is impossible to prevent it. Lokonga dragged Ronaldo, forcing Luo to slow down and choose to knock the ball back to Van der Beek, who had long thought of the next development route and passed the ball directly to Sancho on the right. Sancho had just received the ball, a fake move to pull the ball, ready for a lateral breakout. Nuno Tavares, who defended him, directly hit Sancho to the ground with his body, snatched the ball away by the way, and the referee signaled a joint confrontation and the game continued. Since Sancho returned to the Premier League, he has become accustomed to this level of confrontation, and he does not expect a free kick or anything, simply getting up from the ground and running back to participate in the defense. Although it is now in full advantage, if you run and defend not actively, you will be taken down in minutes. He has not forgotten that United still have a few young players, and Greenwood Coamad is in a hurry for his position. Ronaldo is no exception. Physical support can still be in the case. Ronaldo will always participate in the defense as much as possible, relying on his experience and intuition. There cannot be several interceptions or steals per game. Arsenal on the court, holding the ball for the first time more than 3 minutes. The scene is also better. Tavares on the right carried Sancho and forced the ball to Smith-Rowe's feet as Wan-Bissaka had recently improved rapidly, watching the guy pedal in a fancy burst of bicycles, ready to overtake from his right. Without hesitation, he stretched out his long legs, fell to the ground to tackle the ball, shoveled the football out of the sideline, and then stood up with an indifferent face. For him, this level of tackle is itself a matter of eating and drinking. Smith-Rowe looked at Wan-Bissaka and couldn't help but frown, as if it was really not easy to break through the other side. Tavares's out-of-bounds ball was thrown to Lacazette, who came to pick him up, and Lacazette carried Van der Beek's defense, turned the ball to Smith-Rowe, and then ran quickly into the box. With Smith's heartfelt kick, Lacazette twisted his body, an imaginative side hook, and kicked the ball towards the goal. Disturbed by Verena's line of sight, and then brought out by Erdigao, he quickly reached out to block it, but unfortunately the speed was half a beat slower. Was it that in Liu Yi's era, Manchester United's first medical ball came at this moment? Most people expect that since there is the first one to concede the goal, there will be a second, a third, or even 10/8. Someone stepped up and refused to happen like this. Between the electric light and Flint, a person appeared on the goal line, pushing the ball out of the goal line with his head, and Saka outside the penalty area, volleyed a volley, and the football was kicked into the stands. He shook his hand, lowered his head and sighed, and ran back sullenly. The big screen is still playing back just unblocked. Everything came too fast. Several people appeared on the door line at the same time. For a while no one saw clearly who was the unblocking. Finally, a man appeared in everyone's sight, and Luo, who rushed back from the front, saved De Gea's clean sheet at the last moment. Look, this is the never say die Cristiano Ronaldo, from offense to defense and even goal line relief. In the high-pitched and affectionate confession of the on-site narrator, Viva Ronaldo's singing voice resounded through Old Trafford. Episode 111. Luo buried his head and ran to the front court. He knew that the fans here loved him, no matter the people outside and criticized him, but in the hearts of these people, he will always be the teenager who picked up the football in the summer of 2003 and almost failed to perform in the face of tens of thousands of people. In addition to the fans present, there were countless fans in front of the TV set, cheering for themselves. Thinking of this, Luo turned his head to look at the sidelines, and Liu Yi was applauding him and giving him a thumbs up. Maybe his current coach, a kid who used to sit in front of the TV, is now standing on the side of the court to help him get back into shape. Liu Yi didn't think too much. Luo tried his best every game. It was something that everyone saw. He waved his hand vigorously and shouted to the players watching the field. Keep the pressure and don't let the opponent easily take the ball through the midfield. Press me back. Hearing his shouts, the players knew that the boss was dissatisfied with the defense just now, and they all cheered up. De Gea drove the ball out. Verona quickly passed to Fred's feet. Fred ran all over the field for such a long time, it seems that he did not even need to rest, and has been very energetic. Fred was just about to take the ball forward when he was immediately pressed by his opponent, and the Arsenal players were not reconciled, so they failed. Everyone is mixed with the Premier League, and Gang almost broke the attack, so that their door is burning their own hope. Fred repassed the ball to the side, and Theses knew his weaknesses. Confrontation and speed were not good, so he simply kicked a long pass in the forehead and found Van der Beek in the middle of the empty space. Van der Beek adjusted slightly, sent an oblique pass, and Sancho had bypassed Tavares, who was defending him, and calmly got the ball. Rashford at the far end had already run out of position, and Sancho did not hesitate. The ball passed directly across the cross, and the inner instep drew an arc to Rashford's feet. Marcus Rashford rushed with the ball. Arsenal's players couldn't stop him even by pulling, and the United fans had stood up and were ready to celebrate. Breaking free of the defender, Rashford's eyes were left with only the goal. The middle of the road is in place. Sancho is ready to meet on the right side. The terrace sleeve provides the contact point. Van der Beek is waiting for his return pass at the top of the arc, and even if there is no way to deal with it, Fred is behind him, 4 or 5 meters away. After making a simple fake move and watching as he lost his shooting space, Rashford suddenly got up and exploded. The ball went through the cracks, was pounced on by the goalkeeper, and then bounced back into the middle on the upright. To discuss this skill, I am afraid that Luo is also one of the strongest in the world now, and his sensitive sense of smell allows him to appear in position accurately. A light pick, the football like a well-behaved elf, scooping over the goalkeeper on the ground, falling behind the goal, rolling a few laps and stopping 7 or 8 minutes from the end of the first half. Arsenal are already 4-0 behind, although their players still look energetic and can continue to fight. But everyone knows that everything is over. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jean Jun said a paragraph in a tone that could not tell whether he was happy or sad for Arsenal. Arsenal can't resist the mighty Manchester United, they are powerless to return to heaven, and the end is already doomed. We never have to worry. Liu Yi's team will loosen up in the second half, or give the opponent a chance. According to the current rhythm, I am afraid that I will score a few goals in the second half. Who will stop Liu Yi and Manchester United? This is not only a problem for the Premier League, but also a problem for the whole of OSHA. Zhang director suddenly said something else, about the current Luo state and the recent Golden Globes. Hey, you said that Luo is in this state, not to mention the consecutive hat-tricks, and there is one assist almost every game, and he is definitely very interested in the comment of who is the strongest player in the world. On the screen of the live broadcast room, the barrage of Manchester United fans, waves of the past. Come on Manchester United. See Luo, rush. We Manchester United are invincible. The previous one is wrong, they are Arsenal invincible. Ha, this stem still has to be returned to the third brother. In the stadium, Luo who scored the goal went straight to the coach's seat, and the other players who ran to celebrate, not knowing what he was going to do, looked at the run with a straight face. Liu Yi stood on the sidelines, waving his fists to celebrate with the others, as if he were fighting with a transparent person in the air. See Luo suddenly stopped 3 or 4 meters away from Liu Yi and stood firmly and made a marching salute. The other players also stopped and saluted Liu Yi, basically the same. It is nothing more than the problem of palms inward or outward, some specific small details are different, and the on-site director will pull up the camera in time to show the scene in the eyes of fans around the world. Liu Yi, wearing a bozeting white camouflage down jacket, stood on the sidelines and applauded his players, while in front of him, there stood 7 or 8 players, saluted him in unison. Another famous football scene was born, and the fans on the scene shouted a tsunami, and the applause was like the wave of the wave, constantly ringing. The song of Liu Yi, the king of the Red Devils, sounded in the stands again. In the Longwo live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Guidance were quiet for a few seconds, obviously also deeply shocked. Bai Zhang's behavior is rare on the court. Most of the players are people with low cultural level, but they have high morale and are not intimidated, and Si Luo is one of the dumplings, and it was impossible for him to express his obedience to a young man. It can be seen that Liu Yi definitely has a very high status in the hearts of the players. Let's see, Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof, who are too late to come in the distance, and De Gea also made the same move, raising their hands. I don't know if it was agreed in advance. Anyway, from the beginning of this game to the present, the fans' large portraits, the songs written for Liu Yi, and the celebratory actions of the players are as if they are giving Liu Yi a grand welcome ceremony. Hee. Amid the singing of tens of thousands of people at Old Trafford, the game continued to begin. The camera swept through the audience, and the Manchester United fans sang and danced, frantically celebrating. The big stars from all over the world also danced one by one, completely disregarding their own image. 2,000 Arsenal fans, sitting quietly in their seats, watching the team go through a rout, accompanying the players and the coaching staff, enduring the ordeal together. The game is not over, United's attack continues, Arsenal are pressed back to halftime, even Lacazette has returned to help defend to avoid further expansion of the score and Episode 112. The score was 4 o'clock and remained until the end of the first half. Arsenal's players hurried back to the dressing room, hoping to get the strategy to save the situation in the second half from Arteta, the manager who brought Arsenal out of the mire. The locker room was eerily silent. Arteta had returned to the dressing room ahead of schedule, and the players looked at him quietly with some uneasiness and anticipation in their eyes. As in the past, even if he was behind in the first half, Arteta would not be as silent as he is now. Instead, they will immediately assign tasks to everyone, mobilize morale by the way, and strive for victory in the second half. Obviously, today's problem is particularly handy, which makes the manager, who learned from Pep Guardiola, feel a little overwhelmed. But at the end of the day, something has to be said. After clearing the noise, Arteta's eyes swept over the players, all sweating, with urgent hope in their eyes, probably hoping that they would be able to turn the tide. The first half is over, we should be a game of the past, forget the damn score and the result. Our game is going to start in the second half, we're going to be 45 minutes in the second half, it's a brand new game, we can't lose to Manchester United twice, so start by doing a good defense. In the first half we played too politely for a while, in the second half we have to increase the confrontation, don't be afraid of fouls, pay attention to the scale, don't eat cards, try to be fierce, Manchester United's big stars, but afraid of injury. One by one, the players were engrossed and listened to Arteta's tactical arrangement, and sure enough, the coach still had a way. Why did Arsenal concede so many goals in the first half? Why did United score goals? Why does Manchester United always control the situation on the field? One by one, the questions were analyzed by Arteta, and the players were even more amazed. The coach is the coach, more than they can see. I have to say that Arteta does have a set, and if Liu Yi knew about this analysis, he would also applaud him. In the home team's locker room, Liu Yi is also further arranging tactics. Guardiola is an inspirational master, so the morale of Arsenal in the second half should be a bit up, and Arteta followed Guardiola and learned a lot. In the second half, Arsenal should start with a solid defense, trying to see if they can steal a few of us without conceding the ball, so at the beginning of the second half, we have to take advantage of the unstable foothold of the other side, use 5 to 10 minutes, launch a fierce attack, strive to enter another one, and hit the opponent at the bottom. As is customary, Cristiano should come down and stay with me on the sidelines, but I have to create another goal in the second half before I give him this break. If the lads want to play, they pray for Cristiano to score an early goal, or an assist. If the other side increases confrontation and fouls, we must use more free kicks, so that the other side must be careful with fouls, and dare not casually put down our feet. When the two sides were fighting in the locker room, in all the live broadcast rooms in the world, the commentators were analyzing the first half of the game and comparing specific data. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji are also doing this work, which can make people further see where the gap between the two sides is. Zhang Jun, let's see the specific data comparison. A line of data appears on the screen, goals 4 o'clock, shots 12:3, shots 7:1, possession 78%, 22%. The data of each item looks more and more obvious, which is simply shocking. Shooting or something, everyone knows that Manchester United shoot a lot now, but the gap in possession is simply incredible. It is simply a team playing in a lower league, the beautiful football of the Wenger era. In the current Arsenal, it has been cut to the bottom and disappeared. Hearing the words Wenger era, beautiful football, countless old Arsenal fans were devastated. Manchester United are at least constantly adjusting, and now it seems that they have really found the right manager, and the big wins are both fearful and envious. Arsenal still have a long way to go. There is not a single star in the team, even the proud beautiful football, offensive football no longer exists. Want to win or look good? Arsenal fans wanted it, but obviously couldn't do it, and the club had to stabilize the situation first, at least to give the ball a position in the top half of the club. Often able to appear on the European scene in order to attract players from other leagues. There's no way to see Manchester United running. Fred ran 7 kilometers in the first half, and even Ronaldo ran 6.5 kilometers, which is why United are strong because they're constantly running. The distance between the two sides is 5 kilometers, which is equivalent to Manchester United having one more person on the field, and it is not surprising that they can win. Not only running, Fred before Liu Yi's arrival, the pressure and coverage were very good, and the running was also very active, but Liu Yi's appearance made his running more targeted and the effect more significant. Even a veteran like Luo can be reborn in the hands of Liu Yi, and it is not surprising that Fred, who is less than 30 years old, has grown up a little. In the end, it is still our Liu Yi who is good. When can we coach a Dragon Country player? Ha ha ha. Zhang Jun and Zhang Guan looked at each other and laughed. Just some expectations and heartache. Are the Dragon Country players worthy? The game is about to start. Liu Yi led the players to shout slogans. He went to the outside of the stadium first, and now the morale of the players under his command is higher than one, and there is no need for agitation. See, Luo stood next to Greenwood, reached out and touched Greenwood's somewhat tucked hair, and it still felt good. I'll give you more playing time in the second half. Greenwood was a little stunned. His relationship with Luo was not very harmonious, and he had a quarrel at the beginning, and refused to pass the ball to Luo when playing on the court. It was only in later competitions that Luo used a single goal to change his inner point of view. After the arrival of the new coach, the strength and performance of Luo burst out. Completely admired Greenwood, and the best in the world he thought also changed. Watching such a god-level performance as Luo up close is really shocking. The relationship with Luo has also become more harmonious, but as a young man, he still has to have some face, and he will not deliberately please or get close. Mumu nodded, and Luo's sudden enthusiasm made him somewhat confused, and the players from both sides reappeared on the pitch, swapped venues, and the second half of the game began. Greenwood was just about to sit on the bench when he heard the coach calling his name. "Mason, go warm up." Episode 113. With the referee's whistle, the second half officially began. Arsenal kicked off Lacazette with a kick to Erdogan. Erdogan passed back to Locona. Cristiano Ronaldo and Rashford have been pressed up at high speed, and the Manchester United players behind them have also rushed up with the fastest speed. The pressure unfolds extremely quickly, seemingly completely unprepared against the opponent's tactics of opening up and directly crossing the midfield to find a striker. Arsenal's players also wanted to pass directly, but seeing the dead Lacazette, who was suppressed by Varane in front, the confrontation in the first half was not successful once. It is more appropriate to take the side road. After developing the ball to the opponent's half, Lacazette has a set of strong points, and the most threatening shot in the first half comes from his operation. The ball passed back to the goalkeeper's feet, Rowe pushed forward, Ramsdale passed the ball to Ben White, and Fred suddenly appeared next to Ben White and stuck his foot out to grab the ball. Ben White was unprepared and could only barely pass the ball back, but the strength and direction were not well grasped. The nearest Luo, an arrow rushed up, directly controlled the ball at his feet, and then a relaxed provocation. Ramsdale's raised hands, like a sign of surrender, could not do anything about the ball. Staged the senior Luo Shi, happily ran to the sidelines, made his classic celebration move. The fans of the whole stadium made a Suyi-Thay sound together. Teammates rushed up to celebrate, hugging and congratulating Luo on his senior year. Arsenal goalkeeper Ramsdale looked at the celebratory Manchester United player, took the ball out of the goal, kicked it into the stands, and vented his frustration. "Concentrate on what you're doing." Arteta was also furious, waving his hands on the sidelines to express his dissatisfaction, and had been thinking of stabilizing the defense, at least not conceding the ball, but it turned out that it was not a minute after the opening that a stupid mistake led to the loss of the ball. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji just welcomed everyone back and continued to pay attention to the second half of the game. In the second half, with Arsenal kickoff and control of the ball, just 32 seconds, Manchester United forced Arsenal to make a mistake, and Cristiano Ronaldo staged his big four. It's hard to imagine this kind of mistake. You are a big foot to drive out, but also this strong. The bread that came to the door, where would Luo refuse? What is even more touching is that in just 36 seconds, Ronaldo completed the rush from halftime, made 2 presses, and then scored goals, which is really exciting. The on-site commentators and fans shouted out Luo's name loudly. Even if it was transmitted through live broadcasting, it was still very shocking. Greenwood, who had just warmed up on the sidelines and did not even go out for 5 meters, also began to celebrate excitedly. After all, his opportunity to play has come, so early, but the game has just begun. Will the coach be replaced? It turned out that Liu Yi didn't care if the game had just started, and after Luo celebrated, he saw the light sign of the sideline replacement light up. In the applause of the fans, Luo walked to the bottom of the field, applauding the fans as he walked. With a smile on his face, let everyone know that he did not have any dissatisfaction with his being replaced. Manchester United substitutions, replaced by Cristiano Ronaldo, who just scored a goal, 4 goals and 1 assist in this game, replaced by Manchester United Academy youngster, Mason Greenwood, the Aoki ball king in the mouth of our Manchester United fans. The boy is very good. On the sidelines, Ronaldo and Greenwood high-fived each other and hugged each other 10 more times. Greenwood quickly ran to the field and talked to Lingard and Rashford about the coach's next arrangement. The position of the Manchester United players on the pitch soon changed dramatically, with only one Greenwood left in front of them, Rashi coming to the left, Lingard in the middle and Sancho on the right. Fred and Van der Beek became double backs and impressively became a 451 position. Of course, there are many changes on the field. Our Liu Yi's use of the formation is really amazing. The previous 442, Arsenal midfielders cannot control, and now it has become 451, it is estimated that it is even worse. With Greenwood's play, United's formation has been recycled, not as much as it was at the beginning of the oppression, a look of silence and no war hanging high. But there is an old saying that the fist that is withdrawn is more fierce. United's contraction gave Arsenal time and space to hold the ball, and Arteta took a big swing and replaced Lokonga with a striker. Replacements for a striker, Aubameyang. Tierney replaced Nuno Tavares with a young talent, the future captain, to show that he still had some ideas about the game. Aubameyang's fulcrum role in the front court is much stronger than that of Lacazette, and Erdigao's retracement also gets more space. Over the next 5 or 6 minutes, Arsenal took control of the situation on the pitch and pushed United to an area of about 30 meters. Liu Yi looked at the time, felt the opportunity to score, almost appeared around the outside. After a few rounds of back and forth, Manchester United's formation seemed to have a little chaos. Tierney and Saka on the edge of the sleeve went through 2 in a row, got a good chance to cross. Arsenal have at least 3 points in the United penalty area, and Smith Rowe at the back point waiting for an opportunity to appear. With a decisive kick-up cross, Aubameyang was strong to the first point, but unfortunately did not send the upper force, and was directly confiscated by De Gea. Arsenal's players retreated quickly to their own half. De Gea kicked the ball to the left side of the opposing half, and Marcus Rashford was like a sports car in motion, and the two retreated with a phantom on the ball. While the defender wasn't in place yet, he passed a kick directly to Sancho on the other side. The large-scale transfer reminds people of the wonderful performances of Manchester United, Beckham and Giggs in the past, and this one is almost the same. Taking advantage of the fact that the other side was unstable, the personnel tilted to the right again, and Sancho sent Rashford back directly. Entering the periphery, Marcus Rashford directly crossed the ball, and the speed lifted him, looking at the opposite Fuan Jianyang like a wooden stake, directly passing and sweeping the ball in front of the goal. Greenwood, who ran all the way to life, gasped for breath before Ben White could solve the danger, and stabbed the football like a goal with his toes, which was relieved, and he got up and ran to the sideline to celebrate. Just half of the kneeling slide, Rashford, who rushed from behind, directly fell to the ground, and everyone played together to stack the R-hits. The live broadcast rooms around the world, as well as the commentators on the scene, began to run wildly. The unparalleled 3 ghosts slapped the door, and the desperate stabs at the last moment all made people's blood boil, especially the feeling of Rashford running at full strength. Liu Yi looked at Rashford's black lightning-like figure on the sidelines, his fists just clenched together, and the hair on his body stood up. The opponent is only 3 or 2 steps, cannot keep up with his pace. That kind of indomitable sprinting pleasure is the most primitive and most instinctive blood of human beings. As Greenwood punched the ball into it, Liu Yi jumped up high, waving his fists his chest and uttering impolite colloquial words in his mouth. XXX, so cool. Episode 114. In the 75th minute of the second half, Manchester United played Arsenal 6-0 at home, reminiscent of the 8-2 match between Manchester United and Arsenal more than a decade ago. It's just that the current Manchester United has enough confidence and strength to score 8 goals. Arsenal didn't have their Van Persie and Walcott to score 2 goals to save face. As the Arsenal players' movements gradually increased, Van der Beek was knocked down several times in a row, and finally broke out of anger, directly turned around and flipped the high shovel to the ground. The referee did not hesitate to blow the game to stop, without waiting for De Gea, as the captain of the field, to come to explain. A yellow card was shown to Van der Beek. This kind of retaliatory tackle, a yellow card, is not surprising. This is because Van der Beek has a relatively light foot, otherwise it is a red card. Liu Yi was naturally very dissatisfied, and while replacing Van der Beek with McTominay, he shouted at the 4th official. "Sir, my players are going to be killed on the field. Do you really have to carry a few stretchers down before you can show something?" The 4th official, with a serious face, looked at Liu Yi. "I am very embarrassed when this happens, and when the game is over, I will report your remarks to the FA." Every time he said this, Liu Yi rolled his eyes wordlessly. "Sir, if things have already happened, is there any use for this kind of reporting?" The 4th official did not speak this time, but only shrugged his shoulders, indicating that he could not do anything either. McTominay came on the court in order to increase the confrontation and escort other players. A team always has to have someone to do dirty work. If the whole team is civilized, I am afraid that it will be bullied to death by other teams. Paradox returned to his position. Liu Yi waved a big hand, signaling to continue to attack today without giving the third brother some painful memories, sorry for the grievances of the players being shoveled, and must increase their efforts. In the middle of the conversation, Arsenal's Tierney was another 45-degree cross. Inside the United penalty area, Varane once again topped the ball out before Aubameyang, and the ball fell in front of Erdgau, just as he was about to pull out his foot and shoot furiously. A big long leg, flying from the side, shoved the ball away from under his eyes. McTominay, the first time to get up, rushed towards the football, preemptively controlled the ball under his feet before Lokonga, and used his body to fight with Lokonga several times, so that the Arsenal players knew their hardness before passing to Fred. Although Fred is not afraid of confrontation now, he will not take the initiative to seek confrontation, so after taking a step, he directly passes the ball to Reed, who came back to receive it. From the defensive to the offense, the Manchester United players began to run around the Lingard position, and whoever the football was at the foot of the team, everyone cooperated with who ran the position to make him play the most comfortable. This tactical design, all coaches want to show it, but it is too difficult to do it. And now Liu Yi and Manchester United players, in a short period of time to do a rough idea, at least it seems that 8 or 9 are not far apart, there is no point, can be completely strangled in the Barca Cosmos team during the Hayboom, Manchester United Triple Crown period gigs, Scholes, Beckham and Keane. Almost all of them are the same obvious thinking, and now Liu Yi and his Manchester United are doing better. Jesse Lingard advanced with the ball, Arsenal players came up to block, Lingard did not think about it, directly passed the ball to Sancho, and continued to insert himself. Sancho took possession of the ball, a simple escape, the unstable Tierney was dodged away, and a passing route appeared between Sancho and Lingard. Sancho would not miss this opportunity, passing the ball directly to Jesse Lingard, and Greenwood in the middle was already in place, with his back to the goal, signaling Lingard to pass the ball through. Jesse Lingard has never been a lone player, a fake real pass, sent the ball to Greenwood's feet, and physically passed the defender to face the goalkeeper. Greenwood, who received the ball, directly plugged one heel and slammed the ball in front of Lin Lied. Who would have thought that Greenwood, who only had the goal in his eyes, could make such a delicate cooperation, and Arsenal's defense was once again penetrated. Immediately, several players rushed towards Jesse Lingard, who lost his shot and chose to pass the ball to the other side of the goal. Marcus Rashford, who had long been impatient, was undefended, comfortably eating pie and sending the ball into the goal. The fans shouted out the live score, 7 o'clock. There are 5 or 6 minutes left in the game, presumably such a game, the referee will not give any extra time. Among the fans, I don't know who began to shout, "Enter another one." Gradually spreading among the fans, there were many fans on the scene, who had watched the 8:2 game of the year, and there was no doubt that the stormy attack and indestructible defense now triggered their memories. 7 goals have been scored, why not score one more, recreate the year? Manchester United players, amid the cheers of the fans, had already exhausted their physical strength and seemed to have recovered a lot with peace. Arsenal's players have been fully defensive, with even Aubameyang tackling in front of the penalty area and blocking United's shot with his body. Both sides are fighting for the last effort. Manchester United want to restore the glory of the year, Arsenal beat to death and do not want to let the humiliation of that year happen again. Arsenal's 2,000 away fans, and in the frenzy of more than 70,000 Manchester United fans, all stood up from their seats, brandishing Arsenal scarves to cheer on their team. With only a minute of stoppage time, the referee could blow a spoon in his mouth at any time to end the game. Aubameyang was in the right 30 meters area and crisply put Jesse Lingard on the ground, and the referee blew a free kick. If nothing else, this should be the last attack of the whole field. Manchester United fans are quiet, clenched in fists with both hands, like a volcano erupting before the final moment of strength, and like the last calm before the storm. Sancho calmly stood in front of the football and looked in the direction of the goal, too far away from his range. Liu walked around a few laps behind Liu Yi, and if he was on the field himself, he might be able to kick directly. Even on the left and center, Marcus Rashford can shoot a kick, but this position is not very good. The referee blew his whistle and Sancho took 3 steps to send the ball into the box. The players on both sides are entangled, and neither of them wants to make the other comfortable to attack or solve the danger. In the chaos, Aubameyang got a strong header and turned the ball to the outside, because he was not tall enough, and it was Jesse Lingard who had been waiting for an opportunity at the top of the arc outside the penalty area. Looking at the falling football, Lingard stretched his body, his right foot made an arc, and the shoe stone smashed on the football. Arsenal fans, some covered their eyes, some covered their mouths with scarves, and their bodies were a bit of a hair. Arsenal's players jumped up and tried to stop the soccer ball that flew back, but unfortunately no one touched the soccer ball. This extremely sharp shot of the foot, hanging straight into the dead corner, one point up will be smashed on the crossbar, and the next point will be pounced on by the goalkeeper. Goals worked. The referee blew the end of the game at the same time, and the Old Trafford, which was quiet for tens of seconds, exploded like a lit explosive in an instant. Countless people clapped their hands, stomped their feet, shouted wildly, and waved their tickets to see the flag-proof scarves in their hands, and various scarves in their mouths. Arsenal fans, sitting silently, the camera falls on the face of a cute little girl, her father holding her eyes are moist, and the expression is despair, nostalgia. United have been able to score 8 Arsenal goals again, so where is Arsenal's new Van Persie, Walcott? The key is where are the new professors? Is Arteta the right choice? Episode 115. At the post-match press conference, Liu Yi was once again elected as the best Luo in the audience and was interviewed by the media. Liu, congratulations on another big victory, how are you feeling now? Liu Yi sorted out the bozzetting on his body. As a conscientious spokesman, he needed to let people see this handsome down jacket. It's very happy and exciting. Arsenal are a great club, they are recovering strongly, they are showing a very high level of technical and tactical level. Unfortunately they met us, and it has to be said that defeating such an old opponent is a very exciting thing, and the fans of Manchester United should be able to get through this weekend quickly. Can you rate your opponent? Can Arteta lead Arsenal back to glory? Sorry, it's hard for me to judge other people without knowing the whole truth, especially managing a club. The players come from all over the world and it's hard to keep everyone happy, so I hope Kobasona can give you more time. After two brief words, Liu Yi withdrew from the interview scene, and the fans gathered in the Old Trafford Stadium, singing and dancing to celebrate, as if they had won the championship. The players did not leave, circling the stadium to thank the fans who came to support. In an interview, Liu once again said that under Liu Yi, he is the best player in the world, and we have launched an attack on all the champions. Liu Yi also thanked the fans, and after half an hour, he returned to the dressing room. As soon as I opened the door, I saw a red-nosed old man standing in the middle of the dressing room, and beside him was Sir Charlton, who had met before, but was not very fast. They were accompanied by Edward Ward and Richard Arnold, the third and second sons of the fans. The moment he saw Sir Liu Yi felt a little sour nose. For Manchester United fans, the Scottish old man symbolizes Manchester United, almost synonymous with Manchester United. Lau, Sir Ferguson is determined to come and see you. Santacuco stepped forward and made an introducer. Liu Yi ignored him and went straight to the curtain. Sir Ferguson, it's a pleasure to see you. Liu, I'm here today to tell you that you've done a great job and all the people at Manchester United support you. The team had just won a big victory over Arsenal and Sir was very happy. Immediately after Sir Charlton, he took the initiative to give Liu Yi a message, very hugging. Liu, I am gargling for my shallowness that day. You are a real manager, you have the spirit of Manchester United, and which one Manchester United needs. The old man was 7 years old and 80, Liu Yi could let him rinse, quickly dodged his body, and helped the old man. Moreover, under that circumstance at that time, questioning was also a very normal thing. What the old man did was only the common feelings of people, and now in person, let him go to all the barriers. The players also returned to the dressing room one after another, and they were very happy to see the two old men. These two Manchester United legends deserve everyone's respect and love. The two grandfathers also gave enough encouragement and expectations to the young children. I think you can win incredible honors under the leadership of Liu and contribute to the Manchester United honor room. After spending half an hour in the locker room, the two left with the club's two top executives and met the players' requirements for a group photo. Liu Yi was naturally no exception, taking a group photo with the two old men and preparing to send it to Weibo. Outside the internet, there is a lot of news about this match, because this score has also made countless people dream back to 10 years ago, when the Premier League pattern was completely different from now. All kinds of commentators and media people, football practitioners, have expressed their feelings. Arsenal meritorious coach, and the white moonlight Arsene Wenger in the hearts of all Arsenal fans, expressed his feelings on his own Twitter. Manchester United have scored 8 goals against Arsenal again, but now Arsenal have no ability to fight back. Manchester United are on the right path. Where is Arsene's way? Arsenal fans have made thousands of comments under Wenger's tweets, and many fans want him to return to Arsenal. When Wenger was given a lesson, many Arsenal fans thought the team would have a bright future, but they did not expect to sink so completely. In the face of countless comments that brought him back to Arsenal, Wenger once again expressed his feelings. For Arsenal, I am already in the past, but for me, Arsenal will always be my favorite, and I will always be with you as an Arsenal fan. This remark made countless fans who shouted out that year that Wenger out-regretted it. But Sky Sports commentator, Liverpool star Carragher pointed out directly, Wenger's feelings for Arsenal are self-evident, but now Arsenal's groove cake does not represent the success of Arsenal in Arsenal's last years. Arsenal has to do not to recall the past, but to fully support the current manager. Gary Neville also commented on his own, Arteta is not bad. If it is only because he lost to Liu, then Pep Guardiola. Tuchel also lost to Liu. Is it because of this to change the coach? Arsenal legendary captain Vieira also tweeted, I hope Arsenal will return to the right path as soon as possible and join the Premier League title race. We can't continue to fall. For a time, the legendary players who have experienced, Van Persie, Rooney, and so on, have come out to express their feelings. Liu Yi also did not expect that he led the team to play a wonderful game, giving the players an unparalleled victory in the South, which actually triggered a memory of Arsenal against Wenger. He is not dissatisfied with this. After all, as an old opponent, Manchester United and Arsenal do not have too much contradiction, not to talk about any sworn enemies. This time 8 o'clock is really in the Super Manchester United mode. He has worked hard for a long time to play the lowest score. According to Liu Yi's habits, the first time after the game is over, let everyone rest at home for a day. After all, after this game, there are only a little more than 2 days before Manchester United will face the challenge of Crystal Palace at home, and there is not much time for players to recover. Gang was just about to drive away from the stadium when his mobile phone received a message from Yang Tianbao. Brother E, are you free to have a dinner together? Liu Yi burned a flame in his heart. It is now more than 11 o'clock in the evening, a big beautiful woman is looking for her own dinner, so is this meal going home or not going home? Episode 116. The idea of spending a long night with a beautiful woman did not come true in the end. The people who came to Liu Yi's mansion with Yang Tianbao, in addition to Lu Han and Guan Xiaotong, there were also Li Keqing and Tan Yonglin, 2 big men from the singing world. Of course, it is also indispensable that Eason Chen, who Liu Yi likes very much, this singing genius, is privately a somewhat comic character. Everyone in Liu Yi's home simply eat something, fruit or something. Have a drink together and then chat about football, the entertainment industry, even life abroad, and more. Originally, Liu Yi still felt that everyone would not be very careful together, and there was no 10 things to talk about. But it soon became clear that his current class had risen to the same level, or even higher. After all, in the world, his popularity was crushing those present. His endorsement fee income is also much higher than those present, even if it is Yang Tianbao and Lu Han, the traffic darlings of the entertainment industry. It is definitely not as good as Liu Yi. Even if there are some luxuries that he does not understand, absolutely no one dares to look at him, but he feels that he is simple and has no pursuit of things outside his body. Just like a few years ago, the cloth shoes of a domestic internet giant did not make countless people kneel and lick. Liu Yi, is it true that Luo gave you a Ferrari? Yang Tianbao was a little curious, but he had never heard of Luo giving such an expensive gift. Well, of course, just eat ash in the underground garage, I'd driven it once. I also noticed that you have been driving the dragon flag of our country, wearing bozeting, such a conscientious spokesperson, but it is really rare. Lu Han also followed suit. Mainly driving comfortably, Ferrari's kind of car is okay occasionally, in fact, it can't be driven inside. Liu Yi said simply, this is also his true feelings. Then he added, of course, maybe I am poor, not used to this kind of supercar, too fast I am afraid. It immediately triggered a burst of laughter from everyone. If Liu Yi was poor, no one present was poor. Not to say that it is not known, Liu Yi holds 6% of Manchester United's shares, just as 2 endorsement fees, that is, several small target RMB, plus his annual competition bonus and salary combined, it is estimated that it is more than a small goal. The most important thing is that Liu Yi has only been famous for more than a month since he became famous, leading the team to play a total of 7 games, and many endorsement negotiations are still in progress. Director Liu, as far as your refusal to Nike endorsement of tens of millions of dollars is not something that ordinary people can do, I respect you. Li Keqing said and raised his glass. Everyone recalled that not long ago, Liu Yi personally threw a $50 million endorsement contract into the trash. Just this spirit and courage, don't talk about luxury goods and sports cars, shame on you. Yang Tianbao looked at Liu Yi, if you want to talk about creating handsomeness, Xiaomingge is naturally very top, but if you want to talk about temperament, the more you look at it, the more charming you are. That kind of charm, especially when standing on the court, that kind of self-sacrifice, that kind of invincible, crazy, and domineering soft look, any woman will sink in front of him. The British princess is no exception. Is it that he should come to visit Liu Yi privately, a person, Yang Tianbao thought when he came, there are more people and more lively, so as not to be embarrassed. Now I feel that how these people can get in such a way, if only myself and Liu Yi were there. What she knew was that Coach Liu also thought so, but unfortunately everyone is an adult, how can this kind of thing be said? It wasn't until more than 1 o'clock in the morning that Liu Yi allocated a room for everyone to sleep. Anyway, his home was big enough, there was no need to rush to the hotel. Back in his room, Liu Yi took a shower to calm himself down. Maybe it's because of surviving the sleepy stage, but it is much more sober. Simply open the computer into the game to see. The last game won Chelsea, almost no reward. This home game with Arsenal is also the 5th league, the reward should be better. Skillfully enter the game, the inbox is indeed a series of system tips. Congratulations to the host for winning 5 consecutive league games and rewarding 2 individual attribute points. Congratulations to the host's player, Cristiano Ronaldo, for winning the Premier League Player of the Month and rewarding the Rising Star Player card. Congratulations to the host's player David De Gea for winning the Best Goalkeeper and rewarding him with a goal card. Congratulations to the host player Cristiano Ronaldo for scoring the Best Goal of the Month against Chelsea, scoring consecutive goals after the country, rewarding the British Training Director card. After use, you can get the Elite Youth Director. Congratulations to the host for getting the Best Coach of the Month, and the influence map is expanding. What does this mean? Even if the influence does not need to be rewarded, it has been growing, and it still needs rewards, which is not perfunctory. Compared with the previous Manchester United shares, this reward is simply insincere and not as good as a gold card, although it is not used for the time being, but who knows when it will be needed, at least something that can be seen and touched. With a lot of complaining in his heart, Liu Yi quit the game and entered the dream. The next morning, everyone resigned, everyone had their own affairs, and the busy came to see the ball for Liu Yi, so naturally they could not delay more. A group photo is naturally indispensable. I can't help but send photos to Weibo and the circle of friends, share them with fans, and by the way, I posted a few photos with Sir Charlton on Twitter, and expressed my happiness by the way. It was also because of these photos that his Twitter was finally discovered by fans, and when everyone confirmed that this was the certified Manchester United manager, the number of fans grew rapidly at 11:30 a.m., about 19:30 Dragon time, when the news network had just ended. After Liu Yi sent everyone away, he had nothing to do and decided to exercise. Anyway, this villa also has a gym or something, swimming or something. Just after doing a few push-ups, the phone rang. In the time that he was holding on to do 10 push-ups, the mobile phone was always in motion, and there were continuous text messages and WeChat prompts, indicating that many people contacted him at this time. What happened? Episode 117. The mobile phone that rings constantly is the father's name, and I can't help but feel a little anxious in my heart. Is there something bad happening to my mother? Hurry up and pick up the phone. Dad. Before he could speak, his father over there blocked his voice back, as if he had drunk some wine, slightly drunk. Xiaoyi, you are your father's pride, your parents did not raise you in vain, with a son like you, Lao Tzu is also worth it in this life. What is this? Daddy is in his 50s, how to move in this life, this is not 10 good to pick ahead. According to the logic of the Dog Blood TV series, I am afraid that this is going to be an accident. From the other side came the mother's voice, what are you talking about, you can't even say the words, give me the mobile phone and my son to say 2 words. As he spoke, there was the sound of fighting for the mobile phone, and at the same time, there was also some arrogance in the mother's voice. It seemed that he could still hear the voices of other people, which made Liu Yi feel more and more strange, what was going on? In the end, Liu Jianzhong relied on his family brotherhood to give up his mobile phone to his wife Zhang Xiaomei, but he was still unconvinced and said to Ko Jiayi, let your mother and you say 2 words, the mother-in-law's family is not generally seen by her. There was a burst of laughter from the other side, which sounded like a lot of people, and there were also faint people shouting, old Liu is happy today, let's continue to drink. The voice of the mother, Zhang Xiaomei, came from inside the mobile phone, son, it is noon now. Yeah, just send off a few friends, and are getting ready for lunch. Your father called you, and it wasn't a big deal, just now on the daily news of national television, you appeared for 10 seconds. Zhang Xiaomei said that it was no big deal, but when she spoke, her voice was trembling. After hearing his mother's words, Liu Yi was silent for a few seconds. The daily news in China was 30 minutes a day, and the content of any second was carefully selected, and it was absolutely impossible to have extra time. A rookie coach who only led the team for a month actually took up 10 seconds, which is estimated to be a text message, but that is the daily news. Mom, you read it right, isn't it a sports channel? Mom is not so old, sports channels you have appeared regularly recently, me and your father can often see you, today is definitely different. Zhang Xiaomei also did not bother with her son, and explained 2 sentences. After hanging up the phone, Liu Yi's head was all confused and buzzing. Looking at the other messages on the phone, almost all of them were congratulatory content, and Dabami even sent herself a video content. Click on the content of Dabami, and it is indeed a video of the daily news, but it is more than 10 seconds. A serious, smiling host, with a rounded voice, accompanied by the picture. Yesterday, Liu Yi, a famous football coach in China, led Manchester United to a big 8-0 victory over his opponents in the match against Arsenal, continuing his winning streak. Then it was over, and it was such a piece of content that set off a huge wave in China. Fans have gone crazy, and in recent years, the domestic content about football has not even wanted to be broadcast by the 5 sports channels of the national television station, let alone a set of national television stations. Under the photos posted by Liu Yi before, the number of comments has exceeded 100,000, and fans from various teams have flocked to it. At this moment, there are no Manchester United fans, Liverpool fans, or Manchester City, Arsenal fans, everyone is a Dragon Country fan, hoping that domestic football is getting better and better. Manchester United and Liverpool are stronger and win more championships, that also belongs to the United Kingdom, belongs to the famous clubs in England, and has nothing to do with the Dragon Country. All Dragon Kingdom can pay is a huge market and fans, providing a lot of money for these clubs. And now there is finally a person, standing on the coach's bench of the Giants, pointing out the country, swinging the way, leading the originally fallen Giants, and winning one big victory after another. The club makes way for the national team, the club frequently disbands, arrears of player salaries, naturalized players have no sense of belonging, and so on. Countless negative news today. Liu Yi is like a white snow lotus blooming on the black land, becoming the favorite of countless fans. He recklessly fell out with the football committee and went to court. He loved the motherland and gave up the interest of several female family members for this reason. He was so strong, commanding the unseen Manchester United, that he had crushed the mighty clubs of Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. He is not humble in the face of outsiders, never kneels and licks abroad, and does not succumb to power. The clear stream in the environment of Dragon Country football, the holy flower of the sinful land. Liu Yi, you are the pride of all the people who ask for rice in my door. Liu Yi's latest blog below, the #1 comment is this: the likes have exceeded 1 million, and it is still growing rapidly. There are even many users who have left Weibo and choose to return again, just to give Liu Yi a comment, or a like. Liu Yi, we will always support you and be your solid backing. Liu Yi, I am a Liverpool fan, but in the future, whoever dares to hack you, I will him. I'm a Manchester United fan. From the first second Liu Yi stayed at Manchester United, he supported him as our manager, and with what I know about him, he won't watch our domestic football fall. As long as he has a foothold in the Premier League, he will definitely play a hand. Zhang Ming, the chairman of the Daily Headlines, looked at Liu Yi's Weibo, the crazy increase in the number of likes and comments, just pondered for 2 seconds, turned his head to dial the secretary's phone. Immediately find a way to contact Liu Yi and invite him to register an account on our platform. The secretary quickly went to action. Zhang Ming looked at the screen in front of him, even he wanted to send a comment, it was difficult to hold back. Liu Yi, who is far away in Manchester, first forwarded the video to the circle of friends and attached his own testimonials. Sincerely afraid, I am honored to continue to work hard and never live up to everyone's expectations. I have seen the concern and blessings of my friends, but the number of people is too many to reply to one by one, and please forgive me. Just sent out less than a minute, refreshed some, hundreds of likes and comments. This side naturally can't take care of the response, immediately landed on their own blog, countless private messages and comment information poured up, simply cannot see. The same choice to release the video, and then with a paragraph of copywriting, I am just a young coach, into this industry for more than a month, thanks to such love, lest I fail to live up to everyone's expectations, after thinking about it, only to work hard to do a good job to repay everyone. I hope not to disappoint everyone. Thank you friends for the door of the branch. I have to say that this remark reminds people of the current head coach of the national football team, Lee Taudi's remarks after the game, what children who leave home, what wandering without a home and the like, is simply a high judgment. Before a blog, but it is irrelevant content, this wave of fans can be assured and bold. Liu Yi, we will always support you. If you can do your own thing, look back at Longhua football, we are very satisfied, as the only 5 major leagues in China, and can coach the head coach of the Giants, you will always be our pride. Episode 118. The news that the Daily Headlines were going to poach Liu Yi reached the ears of Weibo's management half an hour later. Suddenly, the management of Weibo was instantly shocked into a cold sweat, and they realized that they had not signed any contract with Liu Yi, and now Liu Yi was free to come and go. In the past 2 hours, more than 100,000 dead accounts have been resurrected, all of which have come to give Liu Yi likes and comments, and this number continues to grow. The dead account is the user who used to be around the blog, but for various reasons, chose to leave the platform. Being able to leave a platform that has been used for a long time must be unbearable, but now the motivation to come back is simply more than the disgust for Weibo. Immediately arrange for someone to sign a contract with Liu Yi and leave him on the platform. Once Liu Yi is poached by the Daily Headlines, then the impact on Weibo is simply fatal, and more importantly, it will take away a group of users. At least these users who have just been resurrected, that will definitely not stay. I knew that Liu Yi would be so fierce, I should have signed this contract when he just registered an account. Liu Yi naturally did not think of this, and after sending out the Bo and Weibo, he interacted with the fans a little. After quitting the game, Liu Yi threw his mobile phone aside, and the whole person was surrounded by a huge sense of happiness, which is different from personal love, but a kind of heartfelt Tatsudo mouth dance. That's national television, who doesn't want to show their faces on it, even if it is countless billionaires, successful entrepreneurs, it is difficult to get the opportunity, it is their turn to be a small football coach. It is a great honor to be a part of it, which means that his behavior at Manchester United has officially entered the mainstream news vision in China and become a glory for the country. Not only Liu Yi, in the distant home of Liu Yi, the home has been crowded with relatives and friends. Jianzhong, Shaoyi, this child I have watched since I was a child, and I still want to give my daughter Sue to him, and now I can't look up to my girlfriend. Your daughters are two children's babies, what a fart. The current card face of our family Liu Yi, I am afraid what kind of female star can be worthy of him. What a female star, maybe she will bring a chick back, it should be difficult to see us dragon country people in that place. Liu Yi's parents are also warmly welcomed, today is a good day to come to the people do not refuse, their son on the state television, this is the ancestral grave smoke ah. Even her mother, Zhang Xiaomei, waved a big hand, and approved tens of thousands of yuan of funds, letting Liu Jianzhong arrange it, and invite relatives and friends who can come at night to find a good hotel to eat a meal. The son is such a glorious day, as a parent, naturally cannot embarrass the son, must celebrate well. Even in Liu Yi's hometown, Liu Yi's grandparents' home, the fathers and elders of the neighbors also appeared in their homes. Old third, our family Liu Yi is really out of the ordinary. This is the daily news. Remarkable, among the younger generation in our village, this is it. The old man said with a thumbs up. The other old men couldn't take it anymore and directly refuted him. What is our village? It is estimated that none of our townships can be on national television. Liu Yi's grandfather, an old party member and an old branch secretary in the village, wiped his glasses, took out a box of cigarettes, and lined up in a circle. Liu Yi is a young man, and it is his honor that he can do something to make everyone happy. A serious remark made the old brothers dissatisfied. When everyone had dispersed, the old man looked at the old woman, find a time to give Xiao Yi a call. The time in the UK is different from ours, and I still have to watch Xiao Yi's work. The old lady also wore reading glasses, and she also worked outside when she was young, and both of them only returned to their roots after retirement. On the internet, the name Liu Yi has once again appeared in people's sites, and more attention has been paid to him. Chandu search, directly enter Liu Yi's name, the following association of the content is, who is Liu Yi? Why is Liu Yi so good? Liu Yi's girlfriend? Liu Yi, who has been paid attention to by countless people, is talking to Dobby Me about his prestige, and he has been talking to this person a lot recently. Yang Tianbao has met with you several times, and we haven't even seen it once. Sister Me, you can't blame me for this, she and Lu Han and they came to see the ball together, they are all good friends, I naturally want to entertain them. It's a pity that I can't walk away now, I've been busy with filming and publicity lately, otherwise I would have gone to see the game. It's okay, good food is not afraid of late. Cut, you're the rice. That's okay, you eat me this. Rice. The two were chatting, and Liu Yi suddenly received a message from his mother, which was a video, and he clicked on it and looked at it. It turned out to be a banquet scene, and there was a banner in front of it, which wrote a line of large characters, "Congratulations to Liu Yi on winning the daily news." Good guys, is that as it goes? If there is a special effect, Liu Yi's forehead is full of black lines, but he is concerned about other issues, since he transferred a sum of money before, he has not transferred money to his parents, enough is not enough. Mom, don't finish this time, deduct my father's pocket money, 1,000 children and 800 a month is not much. Zhang Xiaomei looked at her son's information and said that she knew her mother Imoruozi, and sure enough, her son immediately cleared his own thoughts. Our family is really not short of money now, you and my father should spend flowers, don't stumble. Zhang Xiaomei also learned from all aspects that now her son is really awesome, and the money earned by the family cannot be spent in several lifetimes, so she agrees to come down. Okay, your father usually doesn't have much to spend, I give him 500 pieces of pocket money a month, and he will cry poor with you. After the chat, Liu Yi forwarded the video of the celebration at home to Dababy. Then Dabai sent a voice, which was a series of playful laughter, reminiscent of the appearance of a flower branch laughing on the ground. This side of the matter has not been dealt with, suddenly, see Luo a video called. What is Lao Luo looking for himself on the rest day, and now is not a meal point. After connecting to the video, I found that Ronaldo's expression was somewhat serious. Boss, are you going to Newcastle? What's Newcastle? Our next round is to play Crystal Palace at home, what are we going to do in Newcastle? Louis was confused, what was this? Seeing his appearance, Luo was relieved to see that Xiao was hyping up by the reporter media. Before the Mirror sent a message, saying that Newcastle was going to use the salary of the Premier League #1 to dig you up as the head coach, and then Newcastle officially forwarded this news. How much do you say? Louis was a little curious, how much is he worth in the hearts of the local tycoons in Newcastle? I'll send you a screenshot and you'll see for yourself. Luo said and sent a message over. A screenshot of a Newcastle official tweet with the contents of the forwarded Mirror and then a comment. Anything is possible, £30 million is not enough, what about taxes? Episode 119. Although Newcastle officials quickly deleted the tweet, there is no doubt that it has spread widely. For Liu Yi's fans, there is no doubt that they are excited. After all, Newcastle has been acquired by a big dog in the Middle East, and money is really not money. Tens of millions of salaries, that is definitely sprinkling, not a matter of money at all. Seeing this tweet, Liu Yi himself was confused. After all, he is now a salary Premier League manager at the bottom of the existence, after tax is only £2 million. Now directly give yourself a full £30 million of after-tax salary, a full 15 times the gap. If you are not determined, it is estimated that you will fall directly. Pep Guardiola, the highest in the Premier League, is only £20 million, and it is pre-tax, and it is also more than £10 million after tax. The big dog is really rich. Liu Yi couldn't help but feel both words. The opposite of Luo is in a hurry. Manchester United is now a good time for momentum, no matter how to let the boss leave such news to shake the hearts of the military. In a hurry, the phone rang again. Liu, this news is fake. Of course it's fake, no one has contacted me in Newcastle, and the bottom line is that I'm not interested in coaching Newcastle at all. It's not about money. After getting Liu Yi's reply, Luo hung up the phone satisfactorily, so that he could practice with confidence. Who knows if a change of coach will be useful to his own set of exercises. The most important thing is that he is really convinced of Liu Yi and hopes that he can continue to be brought by Manchester United. Even after his own passing, his son Mini Luo can benefit from this. If his son does not have a godfather, he wants Mini Luo to recognize Liu Yi as a godfather. Luo was anxious to contact Liu Yi and get a positive answer, but Manchester United fans could not find it. The figure of £30 million directly makes all Manchester United fans dizzy. Most of them know Liu Yi's salary, after tax, is only more than £2 million. This is a complete difference, so that the fans are also a little unconfident. Liu Yi can resist this temptation and insist on staying in Manchester United. What is even more disturbing is that Romano, a famous journalist in football, also sent out some of the contents of Liu Yi's contract at the first time. One of the most important is that Liu Yi's contract will end at the end of the season. After the Cavs, Manchester United fans directly broke the defense up and down. Is the management stupid? For a time, Manchester United's official website and official Twitter ushered in a large number of visits, and everyone expressed the same demand. Then Liu Yi was left behind, at all costs. We spend so much money every year on reinforcements, and the salary is not a lot of money, so why can't we keep the best manager in the world with a generous contract? Look at Liu's record: Guardiola, Tuchel, Arteta, Emery, Ranieri, which name is not a well-known person, but in front of Liu Yi, they have no way but to lead the neck to be killed. Such a coach does not stay. Is it surrendered? If I were the head of Newcastle and directly smashed Liu Yi with £50 million, then Newcastle could even enter Europe this season. Liu Yi, stay. We can do without reinforcements, without Holland, without the back, without any other players, as long as Liu. Ed Woodward, the three German emperors are enjoying their leisurely afternoon time. Suddenly the phone is burst, the phone's WeChat, dozens of messages appear. This is who is bothering himself and letting him not rest. With a furious mood, Santa Cuco answered the phone and was her female secretary. Ed, something went wrong, I'll forward the news to you, see for yourself. The female secretary finished speaking in a hurry, and then hung up the phone directly, and then Santa Cuco quickly opened the chat software, and after reading the content sent by the female secretary, she was suddenly shocked out of a cold sweat. Looking at the information on the mobile phone, some subordinates sent it, and some heads of state sent questions. When signing the contract at present, I did not expect Liu Yi's performance to be so good, so I signed a short-term contract. In case the results did not meet the standards, it would not cost too much. This is what everyone agrees on, not the pot of his three sons alone. If in the past, he may still take the initiative to take responsibility for his work, but now that he has less than a month left to retire, who cares about dialing Liu Yi's phone immediately? First ask what is going on. Dear Liu, are the rumors outside true? Ed, I also just learned that I was disturbed by someone, and I was just in a bad mood. Hearing Liu Yi say this, Sandesi was immediately relieved. Since it was not Liu Yi who took the initiative to expose the news, it proved that he did not have the idea of leaving. As for the rest, it is nothing more than the extension of the contract at the salary increase. Although the last contract was signed just 4 games ago, according to the ability Liu Yi now shows, it deserves a better contract. The club, I hope you can respond to the fans and calm people's minds. No problem. Liu Yi agreed with a full mouth. As for the new contract, Mendes will not miss this opportunity, and he will also give a good explanation to the 3 parties in a comfortable way. The 2 of them made a polite remark, agreed to have afternoon tea, and hung up the phone. Liu Yi logged on to his Twitter. Just after the last time he gave Luo a thumbs up, the second time he logged in, and he thought it was a trumpet that no one knew, ready to send a message to the club official to let him take a belt with him. Log in to take a look. The first thing that catches your eye is countless unread messages, and then you look at the number of fans: 12.35 million. Sleeper, is this my own account? Carefully confirm the next information. It is really their own. What happened during this time? They are so well hidden that they can be discovered. It seems that excellent people, like the guiding light in the sea, will always be easily discovered. Psychologically proud for a moment, looked at their own fan list. Luo, they are all impressive. Hurry up and pay attention to go back. I am very grateful to other clubs for their love for me, but I have a contract with Manchester United now. I will be loyal to Manchester United and give everything to the team and the fans, please rest assured. Seeing his response, the fans became more and more anxious, afraid of this. After another half a year, the contract will end, and everyone wants not to be cool once, but to be cool all the time. As long as you stay and recreate the light of the Manchester United dynasty, I am willing to have a child for you. It can be seen that it is a female fan, and also posted a picture of herself, with that figure. Wow. Liu, as long as you are willing to stay, then I am willing to let my wife sleep with you. Of course, if you like men, I can too. Dude, this is really a loyal Manchester United fan. In the face of such comments, Liu Yi is a finger on the keyboard, knocking around and not knowing how to respond to the break. I want to talk and stop and want to talk. Episode 120. Manchester United also officially released a statement to debunk the rumors, but the fans are obviously not satisfied. They need a long-term contract, firmly lock Liu Yi in Manchester United. There was also an interview with Mendes every time. Compared with Liu Yi's more emotional operation, Mendes is much more interesting, and he did not say anything Newcastle, just a fact. At the end of May next year, Liu Yi's contract will end, and then we must find a job again, and everything is possible in the future. Mr. Mendes, has Newcastle ever been in contact with you? Mendes smiled slightly, but instead of answering the question directly, he said another old cliché: in any case, I think Liu Yi is worthy of a new contract. Of course, this is definitely a fact. No one in today's football will think that Liu Yi is a coach who is worth half a year's contract, and any team, if it can get him, I am afraid it will do whatever it takes. Newcastle sent such a signal, it means that they are trying. If Liu Yi for such a statement, show a positive attitude, then as a large dog owner with too much money to know how to spend, will not hesitate to shoot. 30 million is not enough, 40 million is not enough, 50 million is not enough? They are not afraid that you want money, they are afraid that you do not want money. As long as the person who can impress with money can always have a building character that makes you dizzy. Mendes's remarks made the club's fans start to act. Thousands of fans gathered at the door of Old Trafford, waving the Manchester United flag, holding up a large portrait of Liu Yi, shouting slogans: "Give our manager enough respect to become a real manager, not a temporary manager who leads the team to the end of the season. Our manager shouldn't be taking the bottom salary of the Premier League." No one blames Liu Yi's attitude in this matter, because the salary gap is too large, and the attitude of the Manchester United club executives also makes people feel insecure. With only half a year's contract, it is clear that they are ready to kick people away, which makes it possible to give for Manchester United wholeheartedly. Mendes really got a call from Newcastle's new chief, Yasser Ramian, and the content was very simple: as long as Liu Yi was willing to come to Newcastle, then the salary and transfer fee were not a problem. If the £200 million of aid funds promised to the media are not enough, it can be 300 million, and it can continue to increase. In short, as long as Liu Yi is willing to come, the matter of using money is not a matter. And made a promise: as long as Liu Yi can operate to Newcastle, then Mendes's intermediary fee is not a problem, as far as possible to open up. If it was Loyola, I am afraid that he would have agreed to it long ago and would have tried his best to persuade Liu Yi. But Mendes is not that kind of person. He values long-term interests, deals that can maintain good relations with various clubs. Lamian, we all know Liu Yi is a good coach and we know Newcastle's ambitions, but it takes Liu to make his own decision. I just help him work. Soon Liu Yi received a call from Mendes and explained everything Yasser Ramian and what he had said. Liu, things are like this: if you want to make a big profit, now is a good opportunity. No one in football will offer such a high salary, but also give you the opportunity to develop a football club. Jorge, that's true, but there are some things that money can't measure. Of course, Liu Yi can't tell Mendes that he still has Manchester United shares in his hands and is a small shareholder. Hearing this sentence, Mendes knew that Liu Yi would not leave Manchester United. This is a person who values feelings. This kind of person can cooperate for a long time. Mendes is also very happy. The opportunity to make money is more. Just now, and Liu Yi related to the endorsement contract, there are more than 10 are negotiating. He can also get tens of millions of pounds from it. Liu, everyone knows your feelings for Manchester United, but we can take the opportunity to ask for a new contract, which is obviously not worthy of you. Of course, Jorge is just a happy ending for a club. I hope it is. After all, we can't get into a stalemate with the club, right? Rest assured, I have experience in this area, waiting for my good news. The two hung up the phone. Liu Yi calmed down a little. He was only a little more than a month away from signing the first contract, and now he was going to sign the third. At that time, I was still thinking that the liquidated damages of £2 million would be a sum of money to leave. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but smile and shake my head. Who would have thought that in just 1 month, they could throw tens of millions of dollars in contracts directly into the trash, and they could also give up tens of millions of pounds a year's salary. Not long after, Manchester United's official push, official blog and other official social media sent a brand new message together. We are negotiating a new contract with Liu Yi. This is a two-way rush. We want Liu Yi to stay. Liu Yi himself also wants to stay. Presumably it will not be long before everyone will get good news. Recently, Manchester United's stock price has exploded, all of which have been open to $32, and the Glazer family has made a lot of money, and it is natural that those who can make money for them will not be stingy. Ed, leave Liu behind and you will remain at the club as a consultant after you retire. Joel Grice personally called Santa Cuco and expressed his attitude. The head of state is assured, Liu also does not want to leave. Ed, we have to let Liu stay happy, otherwise once he is unhappy, how can we compete with witch oil guys? Jair Glazer emphatically said. After the incident, he may not be at ease, and directly called Liu Yi. Liu, we all hope you can stay happily. Of course I had a great time here, the players and fans like me. Liu wasn't surprised by Jair Glazer call. We also love you and give you unparalleled respect and high status. Manchester United are in full swing internally, and fans are no longer worried, but are urging the club to hurry up and give everyone a reassurance. The day passed quickly, and Liu Yi quickly focused his attention on the next game, which soon came to the home to face Crystal Palace. The time interval is very short, there is almost no time left, only some simple recovery training, easy to hurt training. Liu Yi is not arranged at all. Pogba, who had considered for a long time whether to agree to Liu Yi's conditions to stay, finally waited for the opportunity. He wanted to see what kind of choice Liu Yi would make in the face of such huge interests, whether he was a gentleman with a consistent heart or a treacherous person with different appearances.